Let's see if B can replicate Elite Classics when they last clashed in a best-of-7, or if Beasty is going to keep the record consistent in the Delhi-Malian matchup.
Rocky Canyon is our map for game number 1. Delhi versus Malians. Not two civilizations that you very commonly see on this map, but obviously two powerhouse civilizations. Players trying to take out the big guns over here for game number 1. And especially when you look at these two players, as you highlighted, a lot of times they've played against each other. Beasty leads 15-5, but in the Elite Classic Semifinals, which was the largest tournament they have played essentially since Golden League this year, it was B who took out Beasty. So for either of these players, there's a lot of, I guess, legitimacy in making sure that you bring out the big guns at the beginning, because many of these sets feel very momentum-based.
Definitely, right? And we talked about this in the first semifinals. Like, if you start to get an early lead, especially if you ever go 2 games up, you can force a weird strategic approach where, like, you know what your opponent's going to do. You know what they have to do, but you can kind of throw something in there to completely warp the rest of the draft to your favor. So that's always something to be conscious of when you start to build those leads. Like, honestly, 2 games up always feels spooky. It feels like if you ever go down 1, you have to put your best foot forward, nothing too out of line. But we are talking about 2 players that can do that, right? Beasty maybe with unorthodox, greedy strategies, maybe like a HRE comes down a cheeky place. Then on the other side, do I need to introduce B to anyone in the chat? I think we're all familiar with the unorthodox strategies this player has made historically across AoE 4.
And there's no better time to bring them out than right now. In many ways, B's nemesis in these tournaments has been Beasty for so long. Sure enough, even if he gets to the grand finals, he might want to keep some hidden strats. But I feel like for B, I would dare to say that the biggest tackled hurdle in these tournaments is Beasty. He's playing him in the semifinals, and I feel like if he wants to take down Beasty, if he wants to pull almost an upset just based on the recent historical record of these two players, then he needs to do some unconventional things that will throw Beasty off.
Wow, have you seen this, by the way? 8 villages to build a Mancer up. That's not something we see often, right? Usually it's between 3 and 6, I feel like, is the cap. So either B was like a little bit misaligned with resources, or this is something specific to him that we don't see from most other Malians.
You don't necessarily want to commit 8 villagers to any landmark unless you really want to rush it up very quickly. But if you do that for any landmark, the best ones to do it for are the ones that give you some sort of eco-benefit, like a Mansa Quarry. You do miss out on some villager time here early on, but the Mansa Quarry will make up for that. And of course, you unlocking the second pit mine a little sooner, also a factor to consider. So I don't necessarily mind this for B, but you're right, this is not necessarily the way that Malians are often played.
Nah, this is interesting, by the way, because we haven't talked about the spawn so far. It's like, it's kind of wild on both sides, right? Like, in some ways, both players got something, but I'd say BC got it better. He got a safe sacred site, he got natural walling with the cliff and the 2 wood lines, and a safe goal behind. But on the flip side, B got all of his pit mines in one location. The downside for B, you might be noticing, is those pit mines aren't behind his base. So, like, if he's not the aggressor here, might be difficult to defend.
He is heavy on the gold. Already has all the houses surrounding the pit mine. Yet to move out for a second pit mine, but, I mean, as much as these pit mines are in the open, there's a cliff in front, making them so much more reasonable.
Yeah, it's like the one upside for him is if they're on one location, he can defend with like Donzo Javelin Mass. But like one thing that gets a bit dicey is like your food might get a bit vulnerable, especially if you try to go deer. I hope he's not going to in this game. It's a bit too greedy. One benefit for B is because he's playing the southern wood line, his wood income is going to gravitate towards his gold income, right? Which favors a static army comp, which I would wholly expect him to be going towards. Like, I don't want to see any pro scouts. I don't want to see any like mass sofa early on, because those things do get annihilated by the Delhi.
That's a fair point. For now, it's Ghazi Raider opening for Beasty here. He went with the TOV,
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, we will be seeing some archers at some point, but obviously Ghazi Raider is the way to go. Especially against Malians, you want to make sure that your opponent cannot just get away with a very greedy professional scouts play. Something that we did see the Malians do quite frequently before. This time around, that's not going to be the approach taken by B, but still, Beasty is going to be able to limit the access to the map from B.
Yeah, it started to lose popularity ever since the discovery of just how good Fulani can be and the nerfs to Scout's regen, right? That was kind of like the nail in the coffin where people were like, okay, this is still good, it can be good, but have you seen Cal? Just a better return long term, whereas Pro Scouts reaches a peak where you don't get more from it after time. And it especially feels like weird if you're doing it against a Civ that doesn't care about the deer, right? Because they might still block you because it hurts you, but it's not like when we talk about opening double scout to take more sheep away from someone who needs them, right? In that circumstance, it's a positive for you and a negative for them. But if you're the only one interested, the gains are less apparent.
Donzo's now coming out for B, so he should be able to repel this aggression coming in from the Ghazi Raiders. Now,
it's. Do you want to like? Don't send him, please don't. I'm pretty sure he's just gonna get piled on here. Yep. you can't like. We see this so many times, right? Where it's like, I have a spear, you're countered. Like, that's not the way the game works.
Now, looking at this map, one of the big things for Beasty is that he's essentially capped out at 2 sacred sites. There is little chance for him to secure this 3rd sacred site in the long run. So that's one of the limitations that he has with the deli over here, but otherwise, he's in a good spot, I feel. He's grabbing those techs, all of them for free, of course, and he's been doing a great job torching down these houses.
Yeah. He's not going to house B anytime soon because there's just so many houses already. But this is what I'm talking about. Like, honestly, with this many Ghazis, you just kind of move in. Good micro there from B to force one of the Ghazi back, but ooh, and a good trade there. He needed that. Because the issue is, like, once these Ghazi get low, you peel off the injured ones and you send them for scholar assistance, right? The spear regens just in time. Brilliant play there by B. So that exchange definitely favoring him at the end. I think I know what's cooking, guys. So, yeah. What do you think he's going to place between all those cattle farms, LidaKor? Could it be like, I mean, it'd be a good position for like, you know, your temple, right?
For the frame of gears, right?
Down.
That's what you mean.
Oh, yeah. that's because then you master javelins and the cattle body block against the melee. You're smart. You're a smart cookie, Lida.
Yeah, here comes the first sacred site. B, just pesky as ever, trying to delay this even just by a couple of seconds. Behind this, Beasty is going to spot all that cattle being made. But this is so difficult to punish right now. The Donzos, they can throw their javelins, easily pick off some of these Ghazi Raiders, even if they are far away. And you see, the entire base of B is just so compact. Essentially, the most exposed villagers are the lumberjacks.
Yeah, and they're very exposed right now. Lumberjacks should be able to pick one. Got a bit greedy there, tried to wrap around for more than 2, and will lose a Ghazi for it. So kind of frustrating. Not the best exchange, despite the fact you did get a villager. And now B, he's recalibrated his wood line. You see that? He put them all in the center again, so it's going to get harder to get those picks.
Yeah, in fact, I would love to see some walls coming up here from B. If he wants to play this very defensive game, he needs to make sure he does not bleed villagers against these Ghazi Raiders. Looks like he does get a couple of freebie hits on the cavalry, but the numbers are rising rather quickly here for Beasty. Now archers are in, and I don't see many javelins for B to deal with those.
What? That was a big loss for Beasty, though. I think he got distracted by the Donzos there. That's a lot of Ghazi going down on the south side there. Was it 5? So it's 4 plus the scout. That's a heavy loss there. You already see the difference. Look at the destroyed value here. B is actually in a really good position at this point.
Yeah, losing all those Ghazi Raiders just hurts so much. You need to play into numbers here, like we've seen Lucifron do in the previous set. Play into the mass cavalry plus mass archers and overwhelm. But when you lose out on so many of the cavalry units, especially those pricey Ghazi Raiders, it just slows you down so much, and it buys an immense amount of time for B to continue this economic build-up.
And this is like Ghazi works in so many games, right? But you have to be conscious of why it works so often. Is usually there's gaps in the economy that can't be defended. But because of what B's been doing with his pit mines into the wood, everything's congested on one screen. It makes it very easy to defend with like this brain-dead combo of mass Donzos, and it makes it very difficult for Beasty to yield value from the Ghazi investment. A Ghazi investment that is not cheap, remember, 140 resources per, and they just get sniped like that.
Beasty still looking for opportunities to do damage with these Ghazi Raiders, but there is just none. Not a single villager exposed, and This is why Malians can be a very oppressive civilization. You're trying to punish their economy, but it's just so difficult.
Oh, that's going to be such a heavy loss there. If he doesn't get these out, man, he's fallen so far behind. It's now a triple value exchange in favor of B. The javelins are coming back up on the spears. He might snipe another. Whoop. No, where are you going? Afterlife. Peace. I mean, honestly, these guys, if the Olympics was accessible for the Malians back in whatever age we are, I think they would have got gold for that. That was ridiculous. So, we have to address the elephant in the room. B has a sizable army to defend with. Beasty has got 2 sacred sites. But, I said about it before, sacred sites versus pit mines. What's the comparative? Especially when you then add in the fact that B has infinite food passively being generated, and he's continuing to scale that.
If this was any other map, any map where Beasty could secure a 3rd sacred site, this game would be completely different. He would put B on a timer. Right now, B is not on a timer at all. This is a great raid over here by Beasty, trying to torch down. You see, he's killing the cattle as well, which is immensely valuable here.
Oh, it's even more valuable. Look where it died.
Yep.
It's blocking Fulani's. Like, if they start dying in this area, it gets awkward. It kind of like feels like you just want to let them die there so they don't block replacement buildings. Man, just a great read by Beasty. We talked about this before, right? Like, B's benefit is all of his ecos on one screen. Except Bessie. Poor little Bessie over here, not so much.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, if you kill a unit or a cattle like that, or any kind of huntable, herdable, whatever unit, there's no way to get rid of that carcass, and you cannot place buildings on top of them. So by killing the cattle over there, he's actually limiting the places where B can place the Grand Fulani Coral as his Castle Age landmark.
Yeah, he's using the I hope they like beef against him, right? Like, B's like, I love beef. It's like, okay, let me just layer them everywhere. Like, B is lucky he identified that straight away, because when the ranch went down, he pulled the cattle on top of another ranch. He still couldn't get them there in time. Just a great read by Beasty, and now this raid, like, I'm getting a bit worried. B, he's starting to wall himself in, yes, but he's now starting to hemorrhage in key points. Like, it's impressive the fact that Beasty is doing this and looking better for it, even though he's lost 1,000 resources more of units.
He could easily house B here. He couldn't do that the last time he raided, but now he can. You see, torching down the houses, B is already at a supply limit, and that's going to be a much more problematic position for B to be in than last time.
Okay, that was an overkill. Like, okay, he's dead on the floor. Yeah, throw more javelins at him just to make sure. Calm down, guys. He's a shish kebab now. Charge comes in, pinches one of the Ghazi, but that baits the Donzo's fall. The archers are trading out here. The javelins not really doing as much damage, remember. Those archers, they have superiority of fire here. Increased attack speed against the javelins, by default, lower attack speed. That's allowing Beasty to manipulate the fight now in the choke points, wrapping around the back. The Donzos bait to the front side again. Remember, Ghazi, javelins, they're going down. It's similar costs for each of them. But don't worry about B housing himself, LidaKor. Looks like this fight has resolved that issue at least.
I really wonder how this fight would have looked like if Beasty had those extra horsemen that he lost previously.
I think B's about to lose his entire army. He pulled the Donzo too far forward. Beasty just snatched victory with this one move.
What a lovely pinch over here. B went way too bloodthirsty. He just tried to punish this army, clean it up, got baited out there, loses all those pricey javelins, and everything is falling apart for B. Talk about a single move being so vital. Now Beasty has an army advantage, and he's going to get to Castle Edge quicker as well.
The manipulation there, the calmness with which he just pulls the guys back. It's like, okay, just stand ground, guys. We'll give it a few moments. Hold, and you just saw it. Like, what was it, 10 Donzos that left over, ran past all the houses. B just like, that was full panic mode. That's like, get the hell out of my base. But you just can't make that move. You have to forfeit this area, but this is the weakness of the Malians. The upside is their downside. Pit mines are great, but it makes you predictable. And when they're all situated in one location like this, it makes you manipulatable, as we're seeing. And Beasty now rushing up with the compound defender. 16 villages about to breeze him on up into Castle Edge.
Oh, this is so troublesome for B. And we talked about these gold mines. They're right next to each other. You lose one, you lose all. And right now, B's about to lose all of them.
I mean, he has to take a fight now. He has to sniff out something's coming, but like, this is just... It's almost like you're going through the motions now, right? Like, it's already over. Bar Beasty just A-clicking and his keyboard disconnecting. I mean, even then, he's got his mouse, right? Like, you'd be able to react quick enough. And just the micro on point, the Ghazi, like, every time in these fights, around on this one screen, we could have left it here for the whole game, and you'd catch every critical moment. Those Ghazi Raiders have found ridiculous bang for buck in this game. Wait, where's Pumbaa Gun, Beast? What is the villager doing out here?
I have no idea, KP. I'm so confused. Beasty is trying to get every help he can. He's trying to rally the board to the fight, but why it's done by a villager, it remains a mystery forever, probably.
Hey, mate, that board recovered the game. Beat Beasty with a BM. I mean, but like, what do you do as B now, right? Because like, if you rush your tech up, I think you're just going to be dead to men-at-arms. Like, javelins have decent base damage, but it's not that great, right? And now you're on the clock either way because you know Village Fortresses is going to be being primed. Like, sure, you know, archers aren't going to be upgraded quickly, Ghazi aren't going to be upgraded quickly, but that's why Beasty threw his army away, right? Because he doesn't want that anymore. Tech ups take too long as the deli.
Yeah, that's the big factor. With any other Civ, you wouldn't want to lose that army before a tech up. Looks like nice little counterattack here. Beasty's going to have to pull wheels. But with a deli, it takes too much time to upgrade those Ghazi Raiders and Archers, so Beasty was just willing to use them to kind of shield his Castle Age progress.
And now, because B has to come out like this, it's like, it's uncomfortable territory, right? You know the next wave is going to just annihilate you, but if you sit back at home, you're just waiting for death. So his goal with this, there's two choices. You can try to tech up, or you just try to get mass. I'm surprised he's trying to play for mass, because I don't see a world in which that works, right? Like, feudal units versus castle? With the deli's efficiency and 2 sacred sites still locked? I mean, maybe you're dead either way, but I thought with that gold access, he was just going to rush up into castle and try to recover off the food.
Yeah, Lancer is looking for an opportunity. Nice little reaction with the Donsos. B still has a sizable army, and that is not something to be underestimated. But Beasty's now mixing in men-at-arms. Not something that you have a direct answer to if you're B.
No, and it's why he's adding Musafadi warriors, but Musafadi more Musafani in this situation. Like, they're feudal units up against Castle Age men-at-arms. They're not going to fare well, and it looks like they're going to have to fare fast, because the men-at-arms are on top of them. More knights coming. I love the peel again. Beasty constantly with the cavalry throughout this game, just cutting off the ranged javelin formation, reducing their value. And now it looks like B should win this, right, with the raw numbers, but he'll lose this fight.
Yeah, it's quantity over quality at this point. Well, rather the other way around. Quality over quantity. B had the numbers, but these are premium units now. And, you know, Musafadi warriors come in, but they are just so fragile. They'll get picked off very quickly by these Lancers. Now you can even detach the Lancers, hit the gold mine, and B is just forever stuck in feudal age at this point.
Oh, nice wood line. Too bad it's exposed on every side. I mean, even if he gets resources, I think he's going to be at half eco efficiency with the amount of idle time that's about to be forced. And well, it's a dark, cold day in hell when you watch a Malian player go farms.
It is
really
very disappointing when you see a Malian player playing into farms. And now men-at-arms move in. B is starting to lose villagers. He's still only on 2 pit mines, by the way. Obviously, he's not in Castle Age, so he can't get a third one, but now things are starting to fall apart for him, especially with those critical techs, the eco upgrades as well as village fortresses coming in now for Beast.
And there's going to be the castle drop. It's a little bit early for village fortresses, but this, like, if this goes up, that'll be the moment B equals GG. He's going to keep holding for the time being. Mass Musafadi. Okay, this is his one hope. He has to kill 58 villagers. Now, that number may have seemed very specific for good reason. He would have to kill every single one of BC's villagers to win this now.
Yep, pretty much. And it's not going to happen.
OP, right?
That is just not going to happen. Musafadi Warriors trying a counterattack over here. Beasty will be a little too late with that tower, but that keep is going up, and even if Beasty loses all these vills, with Village Fortresses finishing very soon, it's not going to amount too much. And he won't even lose many. In fact, I don't think he lost any.
I think did he maybe lose one, and like the wolf aggroed him? Yeah, okay, this is game 2, man. I respect his commitment to trying to recover, but like that keep is a condemnation. Like, look, Beasty's taking the goal. Really? I mean, I respect it.
It's just pain and agony for B. He played a very defensive game for so long, and it really comes down to that one critical fight. He overextended once and threw away the forces that were meant to defend his base, and from that point on, Beasty was just able to do so much against his eco. Obviously, castle age advantage, big factor here as well. Now, Village Fortress is done. Sacred sites, all 3 sacred sites are captured. I actually said 5 minutes ago that Beasty will probably not hold that sacred site for a long time in this game. I stand corrected.
The best part is the sacred site is most likely to lose is like the one in its own base at this rate, because the central one you can react to, right? Like, B's just trying a cheesy way of recovering his game. Like, if I can get enough javelins and I can just poke and prod, he can't reach me. But, like, that's such a tall ask. Like, I'd love to see Beasty just prep Force March. Because, like, Force March, if this is the one way B wants to try and play this without calling a GG, and you get Force March, those men-at-arms, I mean, you remember how fast they go, right? We rarely see it. But it's honestly like they've got a bunch of nitro canisters crammed between their butt cheeks because they zoom.
But he's going to lose out on all of these pit mines. In fact, there is a clump of villagers on the far right. That's where B needs to get her resources from right now. That's the safest spot for him on this map.
Oh, come on, that has to be the point, right? Like, that has to be where you're like, I'm out. Does B just like, does he like this? Nobody likes this, right?
I don't think so. But on the other hand, this is a semifinals. He's trying to make something out of nothing. He's trying to somehow climb back into this one, give himself that 1% chance. And frankly, that's the mindset that Beasty has in many of his sets. When he's down, he only quits when he knows it's 100% over.
Wait, no, LidaKor, let me do the math. Okay, Beasty was born in 1990. He's 32 years old. By esports standards, he belongs in a retirement home. This is a stamina game. B is trying to exhaust him. There we go. He's like, if this series takes 7 hours, Beasty, it's gonna be nap time. And B is 28, so he has more stamina. There, we've solved it.
Well, here come the siege weapons over here. Mangonel's on the way. House is being torched down. B is now housed once again, given that he lost essentially all the houses right next to those gold mines.
Time to throw away some army. I don't like being housed. Come on, it's just a one Magan now. He really is just going to stick with this. I mean, I guess he could use this to think about the next game. I'm telling you guys, it's the stamina. Genuinely, it's like Beasty will need a Zimmer frame in 3 years. Old man walking stick. I'm fine. I just need to outlast him.
Yeah, B wants to take one critical fight. You see, he's piling up units. He's looking to take a single critical engagement. A lot of Mustafari warriors, but I don't think this is going to be enough.
Yeah. Honestly, like, if I was Beasty, I'd just go kill a cow on that placement right there. Just make sure that the B can't do the one thing he wants to. Man, he just can't find mass villages, right? And you want to know why he can't find mass villages with this Mustafari push? Guess where the biggest group of villages are on the map for the Delhi?
Well,
it's the berry bush next to the sacred site in B's base.
Yeah, well, it's a safe spot. You have the castle there.
Yeah, there's like, I think 14 villages down there. I mean, there'll be more, right? Because Village Fortress is ready now. Well, this should be the point, right? I've said that like 3 points already. B every time has been not one step back about it, but that's more than one step. And your villagers are not getting back to safety the moment you lose this fight.
It is over indeed. A very defensive game here in game number 1 from B. Ultimately got punished by that one overextension through the Ghazi Raider flanked by Beasty. And once that happened, everything started falling apart. But I would dare to say that even without, Beasty beat his opponent to Castle Age by a massive margin, and that tech advantage started to show rather quickly.
Yeah, I mean, the crazy part is when we say tech advantage is shown quickly for the Delhi, right? But it's like, it did because the way the game played out. There was a moment where B could have tried to tech up. I think that maybe would have served him better than the alternative, but he was always paranoid in this game. I think the part for me is like, it's very surprising he stayed in this that long. Maybe he had a plan, or maybe he's just wasting time. I really hope it's the secondary, because if it's the first, it might be really tilting and frustrating that like you stayed in it this long and you just kind of wasted more time to just kind of morale boost your opponent. But who knows? Maybe it's the secret old man strategy. I mean, I can't think of any other reason for the last 5 minutes of gameplay.
Again, it's a big game. It's a big series for B, so I don't fault him for trying, especially because he doesn't see everything that we do see. Maybe he was hoping for one slip up from Beasty. He really wanted to just step out of this game when he knew it was fully over. And, well, it was fully over for quite a while. Tapped out.
Yeah.
And now we head to a mirror matchup here on Holy Island. It is Chinese on both sides. Let's take a look at the home maps, though, for a brief moment, because we've got some interesting ones to talk about. Holy Island, Beasty, pretty good on that map as well. But he's got Mountain Clearing. That is his go-to map. He loves that map. He's extremely difficult to beat on that map. So for B, especially when you, or as you highlighted, once we get to a 2-0 lead, or dare I say a 3-0 lead, it gets extremely challenging for the player that's down. So this game has an amplified importance for B. It would be very uncomfortable for him to fall down 2-0, I feel.
Yeah, and like the worrying part is like Beasty, I think he expected the Chinese. I feel like B mostly plays Chinese on this map, if I'm not mistaken. So like the way this plays out is like by kind of ego challenging in a mirror, you are kind of saying you think you're the better player at it, right? But like on top of that, it puts you in this really interesting position to control the flow of the game, where if you win this, you force the 2-0 not because you've done something funky. It means you can do something funky further down the line. We already mentioned that, right? Where like you go to map 3 and B has to put his best foot forward. He can't afford anything but the best. You could just throw a weird kind of curveball on him, right? Like let's say we go Canal and it's English or Ottomans there, right? But like your opponent says, okay, mountain clearing is really good for English. It's always going to be HRE, but I'm using like an example where HRE is already gone. And you throw like, I don't know, French in or some crap like that. Just a weird ass curveball. Your opponent now has to kind of recalibrate, but you've like taken a sieve that has multiple lanes of possibilities into a different map. It's the weird permutations. Like I said, the moment we add the new expansion in as well, where we get all those extra civs, that's where like I think the AoE4 community is going to become kind of a mind melt, because like we have a lot of civs, but it's to a certain degree been kind of formulated, right? Like, yeah, this will be picked here, that'll be picked there. But once you start getting into that like bigger territory, like Jesus, I come from a game where there's over 120 heroes and 10 of them get picked in a game, and you can ban, I think it's 10 each.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Because, as you said, we do have 10 civilizations here, but when you look at these maps, you have 2 or 3 civilizations at maximum which are suitable for a given map. Once you start expanding the roster of the civilizations, especially with the civ variants, suddenly you could have a lot more diversity when it comes to the civilization matchups. And that is also, as you said, will bring in a new element to competitive AoE 4, or at least amplify the significance of an element that wasn't as significant before, that is drafting. Yes. It is already important, like we see, and how you pick your civilizations, how you distribute them between essentially 6-7 games in many sets is already a critical factor. But once you have a lot more civs to play around with, it gets even more complicated and even more significant.
You know what the crazy thing is? Like when you do that as well, I was talking to someone about this with Dota 2 the other day, where like you still have these youthful players coming through, right? Like TI-10 was won by, I think it's the youngest or second youngest group of people ever, the average age of 21. But on the other end of the spectrum, your old men keep relevance because they provide a new debt through like the wisdom, right? It's not just intelligence, the wisdom kicks in because they've played for so long, or they've looked at it in a different way. They spent more time thinking about those permutations. That's what I'm excited for. Like the potential for a new wave of players and a bunch of youthful ones. But the fact that like I don't think we're necessarily going to lose our vanguard of AoE4 people anytime soon. And you see that in AoE2, right? Like it's a delicate balance though, because like I think AoE2 would be fair to say, I mean, I'm not an expert on it, but I feel like I don't see too many breakthrough players in more recent years. Is usually the people that have been doing it for a long time. So I'm kind of excited to see how Age of Empires 4 is going to address that as time goes on, with civs that, as we can already see from the first 10, play very distinct and incredibly differently.
Well, looks like we just have 2 seconds left to go until game number 2. Chinese Mirror, important game for both of these players. B, of course, wants to climb back into the series, even out the scoreline. And for Beasty, it would mean so much for him if he took a mirror matchup in here. he would be up 2-0, as you said. That gives him a lot of flexibility going into game number 3, 4, 5. But also, I feel like there is a mental element in this. We talked about this. This is one of the biggest rivalries in AoE 4. If you win a mirror matchup, that just shows power. It shows strength. And it kind of tells your opponent, hey, I'm here to oppress you.
I mean, if game 1 didn't show strength, like how do we up this? Remember, Beasty took that game 1, and damn did he look strong. So, like, if he wins the Chinese mirror by that logic, is he not just bench pressing B's house in his Mercedes at the same time? Like, it's spooky. We already mentioned the value of going 2 games up, and with a Chinese mirror, Beasty in some ways puts himself in a better position than most to do that. So we kick into Holy Island. Well, I'm just seeing, did we get any shenanigans on the spawns? We did. All the gold is on the north side for B, whereas BC has split options. His is condensed in terms of safe golds as well, though. The reason this can be important is because it's popular for Chinese players to either get a few Chuginu or a few horsemen eventually. And what I'm thinking in particular is if you have to like play in a condensed area, Chuginu might shut down all the gold income for B.
Yeah, big difference is that B can couple one of those gold mines with a wood line, so he can have all his eco concentrated, which obviously is a factor for tax collection, but also for just defensive gameplay. Whereas for Beasty, there isn't really a gold mine that's very close to a wood line. Maybe the one to the far east is, but that's quite far away from the TC. So from that perspective, I feel like B's map is probably slightly better than what Beasty has.
Damn, could you imagine that? I want a game like that now, where like someone has Trip Gold Vein and they drop an academy between all 3 of them, and it just turns into a game of whack-a-mole. You know, just running back and forth between the 3. Why has no one made a whack-a-mole mini game for AO4 actually? Come on, modders. Like, you know, I honestly I want to see some more interesting custom games.
Well, something is off with B's build though, KP.
Wait,
he's down by at least 1.5 villagers.
Oh,
okay, now he
really?
caught up. It was just
no.
No,
It's
still
fishing.
1 down. Yeah, it's
I think it's the
essentially like
fishing.
0.9 villagers down when it comes to the production somehow.
Also, check BC's base. I'm pretty sure he sent too many villagers to a tree, so he like one of them was essentially idle.
Yeah, you see, just when Beasty pops out 2 eco units to catch up, Beasty's gonna have another one coming out. So
Yeah,
B has been consistently behind by at least like a villager's worth or so. And would you look at that? He brought in most of the sheep from the map. I'm actually curious how much sheep B has to work with.
I mean, it shouldn't matter on a grand scale. Like, it screws your comeback plan. But yeah, he's got 16. Because, like, the reality of this game should be decided by the sea. Like, it's very rare that a Chinese mirror like this doesn't. Because it's just... Because of the increased production rate, there's an insane snowball effect there. Sorry, is BC just flaunting the sheep? Like, I don't want to drop them off. I like to live life dangerously. I'm going to do laps around your base. No weird openings, though, and I wouldn't expect it here. Like, the scouting position, this is the annoying thing. Like, historically, we've known the Chinese for being this cheesy, scummy outpost rush civ, right? But, like, because of Tang Dynasty, you can't do that. It's always seen.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Although, I don't think you would be tower rushing another Chinese player either. But as you said, that extra scouting does help a lot.
Well, it's the idea of a smuggled tower, right? Like, think back when people used to chop through trees and drop an outpost. Obviously, can't do that anymore, but, like, those type of things, you can't even kind of mask an outpost rush because the Tang Dynasty vision is just insanely large. So, he went for the retracted gold. I mean, that was his best option. The only other way is if he tried to bridge towards his docks, but you don't want to do that ever, I don't think. And also, he could eventually just wall that left side, which I'm a fan of, because if B ever goes into Horseman, it's going to limit his options to a direct line in. I think Horseman usually works better on the Holy Island configuration, where you don't get the forward wood spawn.
They definitely do, because you want that open space in the middle to maneuver. And as much as those forests don't seem like much, they definitely block your movement a little. I think it also makes it a little bit more difficult to spot certain things because you do have that line of sight blocked by the forest. So as you said, Horseman probably works a lot better when you do have this openness in the middle instead of having the forest spawn out there.
You know, if we didn't get DMCA'd, I'd be like, just let's turn this into a DJ stream because it's Chinese versus Chinese. You know the crazy part is like Abbasid, like actually I think Abbasid mirrors have got quite intense in their openings because a lot changes quickly and can change quickly. But Chinese mirrors just never like it's always this, right? Like I should have told someone to fast forward to 6 minutes at minute 0. Saved him some time on the YouTube.
Well, for now, it's just kind of poking and prodding, just standard Dark Age stuff. Imperial Academy coming in for both of these players. And essentially an identical setup for these two players right now. Both of them taking the front wood line. Both of them will have the Academy right next to it. Only difference really is the positioning of that gold mine.
I feel like this turns into one of those like classic teenage high school chick flicks. Like, oh my god, are we twins? Like literally everything. The Imperial Academy placement, the gold choices. The only difference is that village account you talked about, or the fishing boat account rather, where Beasty's now 3 ahead. Like that is going to add up. I want to see him do something with that advantage though. Instead of just pushing more like fleet units, maybe just drop a stable, maybe just get 1 or 2 horsemen. Be annoying.
I don't think that eco advantage is big enough to justify that right now, or at least to facilitate that. But it's definitely a difference between these two players that has been there for a while. And if you actually took a look at how many resources were gathered by either of these players throughout the game, you would see Beasty having a respectable advantage in that department.
Yeah, it's the barbie. Like, are we twins? It's just pushing out in the same directions again. They're both doing this to secure their gold, and so B can take a full gold if he needs to. But I think he has got the extra like food because he's just dropped another dock. It looks like, yeah, B. So because B didn't want to get his... He wants to play turtle, right? So because he wants to play turtle, he's caught up in fishing. But this means he's going to be idled out because there's no way he's rushing in placements. And by the time you get your first boat out, this Springwall ship could already be poking.
He's playing with a very similar mindset to the previous game. Very defensive, very compact base, as much as possible for this map at least. But you see, he prioritized double broadaxe and even forestry over making any combat vessels right now. Beasty already has his ships coming out, and I think that B's playing this way too passively. It's okay to be the defender, but you need a combat ship before Beasty arrives.
Well, this is like wild, right? Like B, a player that's notorious for being ultra aggressive, but I remember Beasty said a long time ago, like he knows B is this super greedy kind of boomy eco type player, right, from the StarCraft days, and like the type of guy that would try to take more of the map to get his win. And now you're seeing the punishment for it. Like Beasty, he soul read him here. Not a single vessel to defend on water. The idle time alone is going to be a stinger. This is where Beasty could get that edge to go land forces if he wants to. Even like, you know what's kind of crazy? Imagine if he like went for a fast castle build off the back of this.
Could easily do that. B isn't really committing to many combat ships right now, and you see, sure thing, fishing boats aren't being sunk over here, but there is a terrible amount of idle time on B, and that is something that kind of offsets the boost that he's grabbing from the eco-techs. The concept was that he grabs the eco-techs and hopefully doesn't get punished on the water, but Beasty came in with ships over here, and there's just so much idle time on this fishing eco right now.
All right, looks like Beasty's going to play a bit longer in feudal now that he sees a reaction. Like, if B didn't bring out those ships, this was 100% going to turn into a fast castle. But that idle time alone, man, that's... Ironically, stings more than just a bee. Like, I mean, maybe it's one of those killer bees from Japan. That's how I feel right now about what just happened here. And, well, you can see the difference in the food, right? Like, that's why I kept thinking maybe BC goes castle. He's sitting on 900 food.
His fishing eco has been untouched, but now he needs to invest into more combat ships. And you see, now, Beast is going to probably demonstrate what B was supposed to do in the initial parts of Feudal Age. Just play this defensive game, as B is about to lose that one scout. Oh man, that's going to sting.
He's like, we're all China, right? Why are we fighting? Like, no. This is turmoil China, okay? Full of whatever empire you want to choose. They all eventually got overthrown by each other. But now on the defensive, like Beasty, he should have enough boats to defend. He's a bit overboomed on the food. You can see he's getting a dangerous territory with the fishing. So ultimately, could eventually just end up losing more fishing than B, but it's like the idle time is the difference making the matters here.
Yep.
Ooh. This is a bit early for B to have made that jump, right? I don't think he expected BC to reboom that many. I legit think BC's just going to go Castle Age.
He will. I think this was by design. He went very heavy on the fish. It's not just a side effect of suddenly having a lot of food but having to reinvest into the water. He wanted to go fast castle over here, no land aggression. And he should be able to do that because I think he has enough ships to hold this off. He doesn't need to perfectly match the numbers. He just needs to make sure that he's got like 80% of B's numbers here.
And he does have to defend, right? Because the issue he has is because he exhausted the close fishing first, he has to come further out. So he definitely needs to balance that number. We're seeing a Chuka new investment. And this is still... Castle Age is still easy, right? Like, this is just... In the meantime, I've got so much food, too much food. Let's invest it somewhere. And the cool timing on this is, like, keep in mind B put his defenses on the north side. You can walk into that tree line and massacre. There's not much to stop you.
You're saying that Beasty exhausted his deep fish close by, but that's not true. He actually has a lot of fish to work with to the east.
Well, he did, but they're resetting, right? So it's like... You say that, look how many people on it. That's exhausted already, LidaKor. It's like,
yeah,
he has to reach the northern ones with this many fishing boats.
For sure, but right now he's fine. That's the key thing. As long as these fishing boats keep taking deep fish, he's perfectly fine. Sure enough, he will run out in 2 minutes, but Beasty's gonna be at a completely different spot in 2 minutes.
I mean, he's close to the gold required. He's about to hit that mark. And after that, like, honestly, I think you just tech up, you spam demo ships behind this. Because B only has 2 archer ships. That's not a great defense against demo ships out of the defensive position. Chiganu! Guys, like, you're shooting wood with wood. He's distracted because B's pushing on water. Oh, that's so painful, man.
Yeah, something that you see so commonly on this map. Even the best of the best cannot always focus on both of the parts of the map, land and water.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Like, an A-click does that to you. Demo's getting in, though. B now distracted. Heavy hit into the fleet. That's half gone. 2/3 dead, B. Oh, my God.
Oh, man, that's such a big fight. Demo now coming on the other side. Beasty's breaking out of this stranglehold.
He's not breaking out. He's annihilating him. This is someone trying to just walk up scrawny arms, and they're trying to choke Mike Tyson right now. How's that one going to end? We both know, LidaKor. Tech up is on the way. Beasty's not weak from this tech up. He's strong. Chugenu now moving to the north side to harass the gold. I don't know what B does here.
It's so bad right now. He's down by 8 eco as well, and this is a mirror matchup. His win condition is essentially gone. He could try matching this Castle Age timing, but army numbers looking better for Beasty, eco looking better as well, and Chukunu. You don't have many of them for Beasty, but they're doing so much damage here harassing these gold miners.
Because he has no land force. B just lost so much navy, he has to reinvest in navy. Look at the idle time on this. So many villages. Imperial Fisher goes down. Tech up is complete. B, this is do or die. And that sounds like a die to me. Practically nothing falling to those demos. He's going to lose the fleet. From there on, I mean, Beasty, I wouldn't be surprised if he's prepping 3 Raxes now. Oh my, what a game. Dude, what a play out of Beasty. It looks so funky. The Chuge knew on a coffee break, but B apparently also on that coffee break. Panic spits the coffee out all over his monitor. At least that's how I felt about that fight, because he did not react to those demos at all.
Oh man. And now the ships go down. All of the fleet is going to be gone here for B. No palace guards just yet for Beasty, but he does have that Castle Age advantage. He's about to destroy the remains of B's fleet. And because those Chukunus harassed those gold miners for so long, B wasn't even able to get to Castle. He taps out, and Beasty secures game number 2 here on Holy Islands.
Wow, I am perplexed, man. Like, you know what actually done it, right? So, like, Beasty, he attacks a house he doesn't realize for a long time. B panic builds up outposts and repositions his villages. I think he built 3 outposts, maybe, and he was shifting gold workers to the north side. And that's when that demo fight happened that lost him 2/3 of the fleet to, what's that, 5 demo ships? I don't think we've actually seen a higher value out of demo ships. Maybe this tournament, actually, now that I think about it. That was insane, man. And now, we reached that danger point, right? Beasty's 2-0 up.
It's not just the one fight on the water, it's also how this game built up to that point. We talked about this in Dark Age, how Beasty seemed to have about a villager worth of lead for most of the time. Something went off with B's build order compared to Beasty's. But more importantly, how Beast B just didn't have a single ship guarding his fishing eco. He went for the eco upgrades, a lot of key and expensive eco upgrades, wheelbarrow, double broadaxe coming in before he even made a single combat vessel. Beasty comes in with his ships, and he idled the fishing eco of B for so long. I feel like that's what kind of started this snowball in this game.
Yeah, and you're right. It's like those small details adding up. Like, it was wild how long he was out without a defensive vessel. Like, he didn't even immediately queue one up when he saw that he was being aggressed, right? Which is crazy to me, because you can tell he didn't, not just because you saw the bar, but because the Chinese get their boats out so quickly. So just a wonky game. That idle time alone, I think if we went back and we started the clock and ended it when he finally got pushed out, that was over a minute of harassment, just making him dance around like a headless chicken. So now, Beastie says, okay, I won the mirror. I think I'm good at mirrors. Let's do another mirror.
This time around, he's going to pick the opponent's home map, though. This is the first time that we see this today. A player picking the opponent's home map as one of his. Definitely something that you can do, but we talked about this. We're entering danger zone here, especially in another mirror matchup. If Beastie wins this, it's extremely difficult, if not impossible, for B to turn this around. Beastie's going to have 2 home maps remaining. One of them will be Mountain Clearing. And Beastie, as you said, can start throwing in some quote-unquote throwaway civs to take out the strong ones from B, and then just seal the series. This is looking very good for Beastie right now. And if this game is not one that B can secure, we could be in for a 4-0.
Man, this is spooky as well, because it's like Beastie's putting his best foot forward. The Abbasids wouldn't fit anywhere else in this map draft, right? You wouldn't pick them on Canals. Are you crazy? You wouldn't pick them on Frisian marshes. Were? I mean, you could, but there's better options, right? Regions, once again, better options. If you're picking Abbasids on Mountain Clearing, as I highlighted in the last series, you're playing a whole different league, buddy. Whole different league. So, like, it's just him dominating. Like, he's not trying to do this. Gotcha, wasted a civ, used a good one. Because there's no other place you'd want Abbasids than this. And one thing to highlight, to keep an eye out for here, is the opening. Remember what we said about the Holy Triangle. Eco Wing beats Military Wing. Military Wing beats Trade Wing. Trade Wing beats Eco Wing. This map has got trade posts. They are reasonably positioned. B is the type of crafty player that would like to trade. What I would expect from Beastie is, as soon as he's ready for a tech up, his scout's going to be in position to see if B's doing anything weird here. But my instinct is saying we're probably looking at like double Eco Wing.
Quite possibly, especially because this is not the most conventional of all Abbasid maps.
No.
You look at this map, it's very different from where we've seen the previous Did we see a previous? Yeah, we saw a previous Abbasid mirror in the first semifinals. That was on Rocky Canyon. Oftentimes you see this on a map like Lipony or Dry Arabia even. But Volcanic Island is a completely different story because unlike all of those other maps, this one is a water hybrid map. So a lot comes down to those fishing spots, how you can harass those fishing boats from the enemy, how much you can sneak docks on the enemy. And these factors will probably be the ones deciding, not necessarily which wing is selected as your feudal age up.
Well, the reason why the wing selection order can matter is because if you open with military wing, you don't get 2 camels for free. And that's very valuable because of how quick your tech up's going to be and often how naked it is because both sides are just spamming docks, right? So that's why I usually like to see military wing reserved. So then you got to argue, like, what would you do instead? Culture wing?
Trade
Actually,
wing!
I don't mind that idea. I mean, you can do trade. Like I said, trade wing is a potential option depending on where the trade posts spawn. And it should be for free, right? I mean, actually, now not like, dude, is it weird that I kind of like Culture Wing? Well, actually, Culture, like it should be, right? Because Culture Wing used to be the meta for water maps anyway, because you got the discount on the emplacements. So
yeah, I think
like
Mr. went Culture Wing when he played this map.
A lot of players done it because you go Culture Wing, and if you go aggro dock, you drop a dock, you get cheap emplacements, and you shut down their economy, right? And then you go Military Wing for the camels. So we might see mirrored culture here. Like if we see Eco Wing, man, it's like it's chalked. It's not that it's bad. It's just that there's things that can help you productively, right?
Yep, it's a mirror matchup. You're looking for advantages, small advantages even, and if you can get any of those tiny bits of advantages, that's what you can leverage to snowball the game out of control.
It's like, well, preservation knowledge only costs 100 resources. It takes 30 seconds, right? And then that's going to take 20% off your tech up. So, like, it pays for itself, right? Like, it absolutely pays for itself. And on top of that, because the emplacements are so pricey, you can get the nice 20% discount there. Like it's very much worth it. Trade wing can also work. Like the only worry is if your opponent opens with one horseman, like you're dead. You don't get any trade, right? Let's find out though. It's time. 2 up. Beasty. Opportunity to put himself on match point the best way possible in another mirror. It's Abbasid versus Abbasid on Volcanic Island.
Second mirror of this series, KP. First one was taken by Beasty. In fact, don't be surprised, folks. The score is flipped, so give production a second until they fix that.
No,
it is 2-0 right now for Beasty. There it is.
Come on. They're like, well, it want the B, and then there's B. It's so confusing. Come on. We'll give him a break. Oh, man. Exciting, though. Like, honestly, I think, you know, mirrors, they kind of get a bad rap sometimes. Like, that Chinese one, the first 5 minutes, snooze fest, but, like, the way it followed up, man, that was epic. I'm looking forward to seeing how this one goes, because I think Volcanic Island, with all of these different fish around the outskirts of the map, it can make a very messy game occur, especially in an Abbasid mirror.
And boy, oh boy, do we have a player that loves messy games. B is in here, and yeah, this is exactly the reason, I assume at least, why he picked this map as game number 3. This was Beasty's home map, yet B opted to go for it. He probably wanted to take a home map from Beasty anyways, because if he depletes his own home map pool and he's still down, let's say 3-0, it's going to be extremely difficult to come back. So I think it was clear that he was going to take a map from Beasty's pool. Question was which he would take, and I feel like this is, as you said, probably the map where you can induce chaos the best, and that is something that could play into the hands of B.
Absolutely. And, you know, I'm just looking at where the trade post is, right? And, like, this is weird. I kind of feel like Beasty maybe has a better position for trade wing, because he could trade to, like, Eva, and it kind of feels weird, whereas B maybe gets a bit closer. Because, like, it's actually a weird spawn. Usually you'd expect them to be on opposite sides of the map, but both of the trade posts spawn north side. I don't think, like, it's been a while since I've seen one like that. Like, I love that, you know, the ones where, like, the trade wing spawns, like, absolute north, absolute south on the tiny islands? Those are the tempting ones, man. Those are the ones I want to see. Oh, okay. I thought that for a second. I thought that was on the other side of the map. So yeah, I like that from B. By the way, he's masking the opportunity for Beasty to make a cheeky, aggressive dock in his opponent's pond. So it's good that he's doing that. Like, a lot of players would play safe dock tight, and it would leave that opportunity for your opponent to snake in, like we saw in that Mister game you mentioned. Man, I still think it's going to be culture wing.
I think so too. I feel like economy works best when you really want to play towards that TC boom.
Yes.
As you said, you probably want to skip military wing because that's going to be your castle age wing to go up with. And then trade wing just feels too risky on this map. I just don't see the reason behind going for it, right?
It's like you get a return for free, because your opponent's going to be using all that wood on fishing and docks, so they won't have anything for racks, right? So, like, it's free trade. It's free, but there's definitely no scaling. It's more like a cheeky fast play. I think I made a comment on this before when they first made the change. It's like trade wing is better than going for culture wing for a tech up, because you got the trade value so quickly, right? Like, the gold it returns, the timings were comparative compared to the savings, because you have to pay 100 resources for preservation knowledge as well, right? But then on top of that, the trade is potentially infinite if it doesn't get shut down.
Yeah, that's a big if, though. And the moment it gets scouted, and especially given where the neutral trade posts are located on this map, it likely will get scouted quickly. Once it's done, it's pretty easy to shut down. So I feel like it's just an unnecessary gamble for either of these players to take.
Yeah, it's like you don't get any additional things that you benefit from, but, like, the comparison I make usually is culture versus trade. Is like, if you think of the upgrades you get from culture wing, like, the only one you actually care about is preservation and knowledge, right?
Yes.
And so the logic is you get a 20% discount, which saves you, was it 240 resources? But you pay 100 resources to access that. So you're only saving 140 resources. One trade will get you more gold, right? That's the logic, because then on top of that, your opponent has to counter the fact you've done trade. It's like, it's quite a weird, funky dynamic. I don't know. A culture win just still kind of feels like trash right now compared to every other option, unless you're spamming docks up the wazoo. And we will be, as it is going to be culture wing from Beasty. B, buddy, pal, where's the gold? There it
Oh, there it is. It's going to be a couple of seconds behind. But the dock is going to go up. So B is going to have the dock out there. Beasty tried to prevent that by dropping some palisades on the shoreline. But that did not happen. So Beasty is going to have presence on one of Beasty's docks.
And this is like a wild advertisement for world hunger. Like, can we check that southern dock where they've both got one now? There's one fish there, palisades, double villager pull, a dock drop. I'm glad he's going for additional docks past this, because that would feel like a terrible value if it was just for the one. Look at that. Oh man, it's so messy. But yeah, the emplacements will come through once the tech up's complete. B's just doing a better job with these dock placements. Like, they're not getting shut down. This one might, though. A trip villager pull by Beasty. We'll win this fight.
Yeah, if he can stall this out and get to Feudal Age, get a couple of combat ships out, it's going to be much more difficult for B to sneak these docks upon him. So that's why he's kind of committing against these villagers, trying to slow this down. But B himself is going to commit, and he will finish this dock as well. He's going to have presence on both of Beasty's docks. Or both of Beasty's spawns.
He's gonna get away with both villages. Like, are you serious right now? You pulled 3 villages and they done nothing. They actually done nothing here. Oh, that's unbelievable. That is vile. Like, that man, put him in the timeout zone. That's disgusting.
Yeah, it's some great value out there for B. So much idle time for Beasty, and B still gets what he wants, which is 2 docks on Beasty spawns.
Yep, and I think the counter players are kind of coming out now. Like, Beasty's moving to the northern dock side. He's dropping a dock next to his opponent's one, but he's not done anything to B's home docks. That's my worry here. And like, because of the scanning vision of the fishing boats, it's going to be difficult to do it now.
I feel like this could be one of those instances where Beasty is just willing to give up on the whole thing. You see, he has no desire to be aggressive towards B's fish. No. He's heavy on the gold, though. 290 gold per minute against 110. He just wants to leverage the fish to get to castle.
Yes.
And then just give up on the whole thing, push on land.
Exactly, because like, this is wild, right? Look at that tech timing. Because think about this. B pulled a bunch of villages for longer. Like, you pulled 3 villages, but collectively B ran a lot further with like 4 or 5 villages, and he built additional docks. Sure, then they cost less 100 wood, right? But like, it's adding up. Like, count the docks. He's got 2, 4, I think that's 6 compared to BC at 5. And those 5 are solely dedicated to just fishing. Man, that's crazy. B's going to be, I think, a whole minute, no, longer. He's going to be a minute and a half behind on his tech up. He's not gathering enough gold.
Yeah, you see, he actually had a lot of gold, but he has spent it on upgrades and, critically, emplacements. In a game where Beasty poses no threat to him. You see, he actually spent his gold on destroying Beasty's fishing eco, but Beasty no longer needs this. If he can keep this alive a little longer, it's great. But I love how streamlined Beasty's build is here. The culture wing, it decreases the food cost that you need for Castle Age, makes it even more reasonable for him to just rush this fishing and then sacrifice it. Once he gets to Castle Age, it doesn't matter that much.
Oh, this is vile. This is actually vile. This is going to be 2 minutes advantage, Castle Age, if not more. He's still not on gold. He's building camel archers as well. This is even worse, right? Double camel can come out and they can beat the crap out of that archer. There's nothing you can do. Also, your gold is like on the forward side of your base. Camels can shut that down. Your wood line is actually not protected by your TC. Camels can shut that down. Like, I cannot emphasize enough how much this is going to hurt. And also, you notice what's been happening over here, right? Like, he's microing the injured boats in. The emplacements have not proven worthwhile. They're slowing things down, but they're not killing fishing.
Yeah, Beasty's playing a little all-in-ish over here, so to say. He's willing to sacrifice his fishing eco for that momentum he's grabbing, and part of that momentum is the 2 camels he's getting with the military wing here in Castle. It's a little gambly, but I love it in this matchup, especially because B cannot accelerate his way up to Castle Age. He's just now realizing what's going on. He's going to try and get to the gold he needs for Castle, but you see, 145 to wait feels like eternity.
Exactly. And now he sees him coming. He knows there's going to be camel riders. That part is obvious. The archer upgrade as well. Dude, if you just mass archers with a few golems, that's efficient. Because remember, Beasty doesn't have mass food, but he has access to almost infinite wood in this game, it feels like. So if he just goes up to like trip archery range and rushes in, he could stop B before he even gets a proper defense together.
Yeah, here come the camels, and you see Beasty seeing all those gold miners. He knows fully well what's going on. It's not just getting into castle age for B, by the way. It's also being able to afford castle age units, which mostly cost gold for you.
Exactly. And now he's just going to keep raiding in. Like, he could kill 2, 3 in total across this time here. Especially when they body block like this. He's actually trying to attack with him. I think B's just getting a bit too cheeky there. Like, it's going to take you longer to kill the camels, but do it clean, because the next wave will cost you. Also, he's now losing eco and water because of this sneaky dock by Beasty. He's got the RO ship now. So he'll start to block out, and B. Okay, he does react in time. The damage there would have added up quick.
Yeah, dock's also being torched down, and you see Beasty actually has 3 fishing boats inside the dock. He didn't even lose those fishing boats.
Beasty needs to just get mass archers, man. Boot camp's coming through. Like, now that he knows it's mass camel archers, just go archers. Archers with composite bows will just destroy a camel line.
Yeah, he's doing just that.
Over here.
He's bumping out archers, boot camp on the way, range defense as well. And now he cleans up this dock. His fishing eco's still intact.
I think if B can actually sustain the food, then this is great. But like now that the melee army is out, they can start clearing up those docks, and BC can recover his eco there. Then he's not like capped on food potential. Moving in. Ugh, that's not the micro we're looking for. He does at least snipe the scout. But yeah, these golems are problematic. Yes, you have decent base damage on camel archers, but they are feudal camel archers. Still went on those upgrades.
They also take a long time to produce, so B isn't really going to have the numbers advantage in the long run. For now, he's fine. But once mass archers start coming in for Beasty, it gets very difficult for B to keep up his numbers.
Yeah, it's kind of rough. Like, I wonder if Beasty needed this many golems. Like, he built a few to start torching the dock, but maybe there could have been more archer production. Looks like instead, now he's just going to switch up into crossbows. I think he's paranoid that B's going to produce golems, but we can see it clearly, right? It's literally just mass camels.
I like the mass camel play here. It's not like Beasty has a lot of mobile units that can keep track of them. And those camel archers, they do a good job even sniping fishing boats, but it's more about trying to find exposed villagers and just raid Beasty to death.
Demo? Huh? I mean, that's one way to try and deal with the docks. Beasty's spamming demos now. So that's cool though, right? Because he can afford it, and now he doesn't have to build golems to torch docks. Nice, there you go. So bring it low, then we'll get access to the fishing again. And remember, like, B, he's able to afford this mass camel archers because of all the docks. If he starts losing those docks, his ceiling is lowering, right? He can't afford it long term.
Yeah, Mangonel added over here by Beasty. Looks like he's going to play defensive here for a moment.
Yeah, and it's really spooky because in this game, like, B, he can't do the same, right? Camels don't let you build siege out in the field. So, like, you're held hostage by this. You can't take a direct fight. And there's not much eco you can now raid. There you go. Interesting way to reveal. Wrong type of camel, sorry. Oh, that's so close, man. I think he's like 0.5 tiles out of range the whole time there.
Yeah, Beasty's yoinking relics off the back of this.
And I think this is going to be too late to react, maybe? Yeah, one of these relics is at least going home. I think B, what's going to happen here, it's going to be like ships in the night, because his camels are going super wide, so you might not see the relic boys. I say that.
I think he's going to be just in time. Camels are swinging north.
Oh, the immediate click down. That's pain if you're Beasty. I mean, you could
he might not
move
know.
your troops north. No.
Oh,
no.
He misses. He misses
if he
them,
walks up behind him
KP.
with the wall, if he walks up behind him with the wall, B's going to lose a decent amount of camels here. He needs to get distance. Beasty stopped moving, though. That is a saving grace there. If he pushed in and pinched between the mango and the wall, B would be losing a lot of camels here.
I don't know. I think he doesn't want to sacrifice those imams. Oh.
Okay.
He tried doing that, but this is not going to work, and this gets
both.
better for B.
Kill me. Please, end it.
That was just a little too premature. The Mangonel wasn't in the proper spot to help out those monks. Could have been great, as you said.
Yeah, like, if he wallows once and has the reserve one, it's kind of, like, still annoying, right? But it's just, yeah. I think he jumps the gun there a little. The problem is it's frustrating because you're trying to get this Mangonel with you, but you don't have the greased axles, right? So it's really, really slow. But you're seeing that right. We're getting the pivot into full bow. Composite bows is done. B needs a transition.
Behind us, we had a single ram from Beasty just roaming the countryside, trying to take down enemy docks. And because his opponent has essentially exclusively camel archers, it was fairly successful in doing that.
But like the camel archers, I argue if they've even had enough value now. I think they haven't done enough, especially for a unit that costs 240 resources per.
It's a great unit in Feudal Age. It is essentially the armor-piercing potential for Abbasids in Feudal. But once you get to Castle, it starts getting a little lackluster, especially when it comes to cost efficiency. But speaking of cost efficiency, B is actually expanding towards 3 town centers, not something that Beasty has done yet.
That is very greedy, and it did just get scouted. So, like, Beasty could just try to take a pivotal fight, and I would prefer that here, like, because B needs time now, right, for that transition to pay off. These archers, though, we're a little bit outnumbered, boys. They can trade reasonably well because the composite bows. Like, it's actually crazy that they could still get an even value exchange, especially with the new wave coming in. Jesus.
Yeah, that's a great fight for B.
It's because he's split. Like, he's going north side, but, you know, it's kind of tricky that BC was trying to do these double angle plays. It would have been okay if his northern army was going in already, but because that TC, they can't breach. Damn, that's... I mean, that's wild.
Yeah, that's the mobility advantage that B has. On the other hand, looks like he's actually committing against Beasty's base. Might even run into the range of the TC here. And Beasty is going to try and push that TC. B is going to have to go back home here.
Yeah, because a proper siege is mounting, right? Like, you saw the ram. There's a mango here as well. This army is a bit more tanky, so it doesn't die as quickly. And villages like this hemorrhage by B, man, you haven't built this eco advantage yet. You can't afford that.
Yeah, for a game which had very limited engagements on land so far, especially ones where Beasty was the aggressor, it's actually remarkable that he killed 13 eco compared to B's 6.
Yeah. And it's like, it's the fishing difference, right? Like, it's someone that can kind of slip by, but like, BC actually has more fishing now than B. That's the switch up. Like, that's why he's done this trip TC. It's not really a voluntary thing. It's, you kind of have to now. Like, your initial play onto the docks is maybe a bit too greedy. Mango! Mate, TC's not what you want to be targeting. He needs to get on those camels right now. But that is not the value exchange you're looking for. B, just a swift reaction while the armies are split. Beasty losing a huge chunk again. The destroyed value now remaining about a 2-to-1 advantage for B. Exactly what he needs out of the camels.
Yeah, Beasty keeps splitting his army. Now he's heading to the south here, looking for opportunities to hit the eco. But it also means that he keeps getting cleaned up. And as you said, that is a tremendous difference between the destroyed value of these two players. Beasty, he won't be able to finish these walls either. And you see, now the archers are creeping up, but once again, if B pivots south, he can easily clean this up.
Oh, that actually helped him. Like, if he had let the charge go off and chased the villagers north, he would have got in range. He's still in range, though. Decent damage done here. He needs to get as much as possible. He's not going to get out, right? Like, you're so far out of position, the camels will get there in time. So just clean up what you can. He's going to try to retreat, but unless he's got a second wave coming, you're just going to die again, right?
Yeah, he's going to try to call this off. He doesn't want to fight this. Now he's fighting in an open field. Worst thing that he can possibly do, I feel.
Villagers!
Oh, he's going to get it!
Oh, no!
Style points definitely go for Beasty over here. Gets quite a bit of value over there for that relic. But he does get cleaned up here on the north once again.
Oh, that was disgusting. Like, did you see that? Like, it wasn't just the Wallalow. Of course you saw that, right? It's the second Wallalow. B heard an echo elsewhere. He probably checked for that one before he checked south side. That was intentional by Beasty. And, man, he's even going to smuggle him out alive. Oh, my.
This is something that Beasty talks about so frequently. Oftentimes, he's using those Vololos as just a diversion. And they work so well every once in a while, like we see here. It's not just that B now lost a bunch of villagers, it's also that Beasty got quite a few. Now it's a 12 eco lead. Beasty actually has Sacred Site countdown going on. He is bringing in the 4th relic as well. So he's kind of offsetting the difference that B has built up off the back of those extra town centers.
And this is wild, like, right? Like, yeah, he throws away a villager, but the amount of villagers, like, he throws away the Wallalow relic, right? So, like, but in return, he gets that many villagers. That's a deficit. That's an exchange of double the value, right? Because B lost them, you gained them. But then on top of that, look how far out that berry bush was and those deer were. That's vital resources. That's food that B needs. It's going to waste a lot of time if he needs to run new villagers out there. The mangoes, man, this is getting spooky. This is a big enough army now. Like, the advantage B had is mobility, right? If this turns into a staged fight, he can't win with this comp.
And this is why it's so clever from Beasty that he built the walls to the north. Now he can only focus on one side. And as you said, once this is a straight-up engagement, and it's not really just a point of mobility or a question of mobility, it's actually a lot better for Beasty.
Ooh, that's a heavy hit. Need to be careful about the way he stacks them. Beasty gaining ground here. And to the point of those northern walls, he didn't just build one layer, he built two. That's really smart. If you see your opponents breaching the first wall, with this many units, Palisades can die really fast. But because you've got a slow-moving army but a second defense line, you always know you can get in position before they get through the second Palisades.
It also guarantees the sacred side and, of course, the safety of these hunters to the north. So there is more to that second layer, as you said. But now, Beasty is going to look for a decisive engagement to the south. And if you're B, you're really looking forward for a couple of Springolds, I feel. He is kind of being held hostage by those Mangonels, and once again, Beast is going to use that Vololo as a diversion.
Greased Axle's coming in soon as well, so he needs to take a fight sooner. He can't retreat. The Mangoes! Heavy hit into the camel line. Charge in by the Lancers. Enough troops to hold. The second wave coming in on the side, and there's a massacre on the camels. B! Look at the destroyed value. The catch-up from Beasty. Drip Mangonel remaining. Just eviscerating that camel formation. Just look at the military difference. What a game. What a turnaround from Beasty. B, it's all looking thumbs down from here.
Holy smokes, the Mangonels paid for their price, and B went for Lancers. His plan was to deal with the Mangonels using Lancers. Lancers got absolutely annihilated by the crossbows and the spears, and with the Mangonels still intact, those Camel Archers stood no chance. And this is catastrophic for B. I feel like it's not just the fact that he is very close to losing game number 3 in a best of 7, allowing Beasty to move on to match point. It's the morale element, KP. The Vololo being successful for Beasty moments ago. Now these massive Mangonel shots. You look at this game and you might start losing faith if you're B.
I mean, it's more that you felt like you were ahead, right? And when he's going to see those eco charts after this game, that's a demoralizer. Like, constantly, Beasty was keeping eco lead. That's baffling in a game like this with the amount of docks, with the villagers from the trip TCs. All of it didn't matter for B. And what a wild fight, by the way. Right, the way he played that, he played confidently before he even had greased axles. B, the indecision cost him dearly there. He stacked camels when he clicked back again, and that's why he lost so many in the first flurry. This raid is all he has. It's the only way he can make it back in the game as well, because keep in mind, he built stables and archer ranges. Anything he's going to build out there against this army takes too long to produce. Beasty is just going to full-on zerg him.
And Beasty does have a lot of Ghulams as well. So it's not just the Rams, it's also the Ghulams with the torch power, taking down those buildings. And you see, B is yet to scout that wall to the north, I feel. He will be rewarded with a couple of villager picks on Beasty's eco. But that's just...
It's 4 Lancers. Like, you can't get through that wall quick enough.
It's just insufficient. Beasty is just going to commit now.
Yeah, Beasty just needs more Rams and it's over. There's no way. Like, this is the troubling part. Like, sure, there's other things you build out of archery ranges and stables, but, like, you don't want to build horsemen against this army. You don't want to build archers or crossbows against this army because you've lost the siege war. Like, literally, your only option is units that take over 30 seconds to produce. That's impossible, man. Oh my. What a series, though. Like, B is really slow with these GGs out. I love that he's looking for a way, but the only way now is to make a complete reverse sweep, because this is going game 4, and Beasty's going to have 3 on the board.
And it's the second consecutive mirror that Beasty has won. And not just won, but in a fairly decisive fashion. You see Beasty's pop cap B at 150. You look back at the previous game, it was Beasty all over the game. And this one as well, there weren't really any moments where you said, okay, B is looking spectacular in this game. He had his moments, but he never had a decisive lead like the one Beasty has right now.
It's like weird because B's strategy with the camels, like I get it because he has all his food, right? But he essentially, like what he done is he shut out Beasty's eco with the dock play, and then he built a unit designed to shut out eco again, after he'd already shut out eco. Like imagine this game with the food advantage if he built a similar army to what Beasty done. Could this have been so much different? And I think so. I think he would have had a better chance than this. Because this felt like it was always going one way. Especially with Beasty's crafty plays around those walls. Are these cheeky forward walls, by the way? Because there's no bueno. There's no way you're getting in except defeat. How's the wisdom to go down? I mean, it's very rare you see an Abbasid player not GG after that happens.
Yeah, the population is deceiving as well. It's actually 110 army against just 40. B's got a lot of villagers, but basically no one to protect them with.
I mean, you might as well just throw them into this fight. This is one hope, this is one way. so many mangoes. Like 3 is enough in these choke points to kill half your camels. What
There goes Landmark, second one right next to it. Obviously, Golden Age buff is going to be gone this way. Fire Armor buff is going to be gone as well. B trying to make a hold here with Springolds, gets rid of the Mangonels, but you feel like this is just too little too late at this point.
It's 100% too late. Like, this many archers, please. Like, just look how quickly even the lancers die. It's just too much range units. His mangoes are going to try to make this hard, but, like, you know, if you lose both your armies, let's not even talk about that detail. Beasty's going in. This is him just flexing now. Like, this is done. Oh, man. What a gruesome game.
It's shattering for the morale of B. He had moments in this game, but again, it's not just the fact that he lost, it's how he lost this. Beasty now finishing him off. He's heading into Imperial with a decisive lead. That successful Wololo before, the beautiful Mangonel shot. And you look at B and ask, how is he going to reverse sweep this?
He's going to need more than your standard broom, that's for sure, because he'll need like an Omni broom to sweep Beasty back. This guy is looking unstoppable. And, you know, the army gets cleaned up, sure. But now, once again, Beasty has military wing. I think B still does not. And B is still building an army that takes double the time to produce. Locked in his base. In deep, dark peril. Like, there's no way back.
Yeah, look at that. Even a Springald Tower for Beasty has kind of a fortified forward position here.
Well, hear me out, hear me out. Beasty's going to break through the central tree line and kill B.
Oh, no. Yeah, he's in the middle, that is for sure. You can see that on the minimap.
He's eating the donut. It would be the best way to end this. Like, it's a more optimal rally point. Yeah, there it is, the keep drop.
Wait, I think the tower is there to provide line of sight on the wood line, so the keep can fire on the lumberjacks.
Oh my god, the worst part is like, look at where B's wood is. Like, he can't access wood. There's one spot on the north side, but that's dangerous as well.
That is just absolutely unreal. I thought the tower is just out there as a strong point with the ballista, but no. Beasty just wants the vision so his keep can fire over the wood line and pick off the lumberjacks.
Oh man, I love the way that Beasty follows up when he has the lead. Like, it's always impressive to watch. And this one most definitely is. And, you know, I wonder actually, could Trebs reach the TC from that wood line? I think they'd have to chop a few trees in, but they would be able to reach the TC and end the game.
Can we just highlight the fact that Beast has a Springald Tower right next to an enemy town center?
He has 2.
Yeah, but one is actually oppressively close.
I think they're both oppressively close to what matters here, LidaKor, the gold mine. Hey, you're Abbasid, I'm Abbasid, let's share a base, you know? All right, this is the kill wave, by the way, because, you know, B, he held, right? But look at his military count. There's holding, but like it's one of those but at what cost memes, right? And you go back to a picture of B and he's just missing both of his arms and legs. Oof.
Yeah, I feel like Beasty's getting tired of B not tapping out of these games sooner than what he does. And at this point, Beasty is like, okay, I'm going to start trading. I'm going to start stonewalling you in. I won't just commit against your base. I'll just wait for you to get exhausted or something.
Do we need to have, like, boxing rules here where the ref steps in when it's, like, too much of a beatdown? You know what I mean? Like, he's like, whoa, no, you can't fight anymore. Like, B's just stepping up. He's just doing, like, his best kind of Rocky Balboa improv. He's like, I can do this all day. He's like, nah, Chief, you're done. Go next, please. I mean, it's shutter triggers now. This has to be the point where you accept fate, right?
Yeah,
right?
You can't fight into the Springolds of Beasty now. Only thing that B has going for him is villager count, but that's not going to salvage this game.
Well, B says once more into the breach. I believe this is his last gold access. Not for long. No gold access is where we're going. Well, we'll be going to a decider game for Beasty after this. That's right, if you're just tuning in. Beasty already won 1 mirror. It's going to be 2 in a row to put him on match point. B, I mean, he will have to play out of his mind because if these games are any indication, Beasty is unstoppable.
Beasty does not want to fall to B like he did in the Elite Classic semifinals. In that set, B won 4-2. Now Beasty's looking a lot better against B. 3 games in a row, 2 of which were mirrors. And not just wins, but decisive wins. you see Beasty kind of oppressing B in many of these moments. You go back to game number 1, where he dropped the castle in the face of the enemy, how he just started mining his opponent's gold. Game number 2, same thing in many ways. And then this game as well, it's not just not just the fact that Beasty wins, it's how he wins and how demolishing this is to B's morale.
Yeah, I think this is a clean example of too much of something is bad for you, right? I'm sorry, kids, but too many sweets or candy, if you're American, rots your teeth, right? And it's kind of like that with the Chinese mirror, right? Where it's, too much fish. I don't know what the negative would be there. Like,
No.
I guess it would be too much mercury, right? Too much tuna kills you, and it's another mirror. But like to round out that thought, we went from too much greed to too much raid, right? So are we going to too much greed again?
I don't know, but I feel like there are two things that could be happening here for B.
Oh,
A, he's saying, look, I'm done. He's taking this matchup to Beasty's favorite map and Beasty's favorite Civ matchup on that given map. Or B,
yeah.
and that's probably the more likely scenario, B saying, look, my position here is terrible. It doesn't matter if I lose 4-0 or 4-3. If I want to have any shot at this set, I need to take down Beasty on mountain clearing. It's going to be awfully difficult. I'm not going to lie. We could be in for an easy 4-0 here for Beasty. But B needs to win this map at one point if he wants to have any shot at this series.
And that's the point. It's like, well, screw it. I'm going to have to do this at some point, so we might as well just do it now. He knows that Beasty, despite being old man esports territory, has gone on record time and time again saying actually he doesn't like feel the fatigue. He actually likes long sets. Like he'll stay in until like, even there's a 1% chance remaining, he'll hang in there. So like from B, that might just be getting exhausting as well. So he could have left it until last, but screw it. Like I think you need the morale booster. Nothing would be a bigger morale booster for you in this series than if you were able to beat Beasty on his best Civ on one of the best maps for that particular Civ. And in the mirror, no less. So bring it on. It's either a quick night for us, LidaKor, after a long first semifinals, or maybe the beginning of a Gods Here comeback.
Yeah, Beasty played this matchup in the quarterfinals against Mr. HRE versus HRE Mountain Clearing, won the game. But I do remember Beasty, I think, losing out to, might have been Vortex. It was a fairly recent happening. It was the game where Beasty ran out of food just when he reached the Imperial. I do remember
the one
that
where
with you.
I dubbed him a genius. Yeah, that was the one. I remember that one very well. That one is burnt into my memory. And
that
yes,
had to be
like
Vortex.
That was, yes, it was against Vortex. It's where he made the ball play. I'm curious if they're both going to make the ball play. Like, you know what would be the Giga Chad move? Because it's like HRE versus HRE, if you're invested in the ball, you're going to like pull every villager, right? Because you need every villager plus the prelate. If your opponent does that, just don't go with him. Just stay away, right? Just gather resources at home. Punish him for his idle time. You know what you do? You run your scout out, you pull the ball to delay him, and then you just tech up faster. I actually think that's the play.
Yeah, it's so tight though. As crazy as it sounds, mountain clearing HRE mirrors can be decided in the first 30 seconds of the game.
Yeah.
Which is,
so
I don't know if that's good or bad for B. Maybe he's just willing to play the Gamba game here and say, look, again, it doesn't matter if I lose the fourth game very quickly, or I just play the Gamble game and maybe upset Beasty on one of his favorite maps and then ride that momentum to game number 5. But one thing is sure, we could be in for B staying alive in this series, or we could also be in Beasty securing a very swift and decisive 4-0.
I legit think that you just pull your scout, you bait the boar away, that idles the villagers up for longer, and then you just play standard HRE. I still think, think back to that Vortex series where Beasty went for the boar play. It wasn't that big of a difference because after he exhausted the boar, he built his regnets at home. Like, he didn't try to use the villages to build on the northern side as he pulled them back, right? He built the regnets retracted, so he got a lot of idle time because no wheelbarrow HRE. So, I think the boar is worthwhile if you have a forward plan. Think about what we saw earlier today, where Lucifron built his council hall on the boar, then built his white tower. That's where the boar is really strong in this map. But if you're just going to walk home afterwards, especially with a civ like HRE, that's going to cost you dearly. Let's see if it's going to cost B the series. Nothing but perfection will get him a win now. Beasty on match point.
Beasty indeed on a match point, and this is where you look back at Beasty's performance in this event. He's been sharp in the group stage, only dropped a single game. That was against Vortex. That was actually the aforementioned game on the mountain clearing with an HRA mirror. But then he took down Mista as well in the playoffs. He is sitting at a whopping, 21-1 when it comes to game differential in Call to Arms.
That's disgusting. Can you just say that again so that we fear it more?
Yeah, it's 21-1 when it comes to the game differential in this event. And let's not forget, as we kind of alluded to in the pregame of this set, he also has a 15-5 set advantage in the history of AoE 4 against B.
Are you trying to tell me B's gonna die?
I did not
feel
say
like
that.
you're
I'm just
doomsaying me.
I am just mentioning statistics, you know.
I think this is the fair point where I pull out my Beastie as a genius card because, like, you know, the curse, it balances things out. Like, we need to give B some chance here. I want to see cheers for B, right? Because, like, honestly, I want a longer series. I don't like it to be an absolute shellacking. We are heading that way. And nobody made the cheeky ball play, right? No one even tried to interact with it. And that's important because if one player had and it got messed with, you would have lost out on sheep. And that's the key detail here. Like, we need to check the sheep count because quite often this mirror comes down to who has more food reserves.
It certainly does. Looks like we are going to have a slightly faster fuel age over here from B, with the Aachen Chapel being built with 5 vills. This is one of the things that we've, or you've at least, highlighted in the Vortex versus Beastie set. The margin of error in this matchup is so minor that even the placement of your Aachen Chapel, how much your villagers have to walk, could have a significant impact on your success rate on this map.
And it's easy to get right in this format because they're both doing sheep, right? So, like, sheep... If I say that, it's actually more annoying... Okay, like, nitpicky, but kind of matters to a certain degree, depending on how you formulate your base, is like the Southern player has an advantage because they will immediately have their Regnets placed without walking in the safest position, right? Because, like, if you're in the north, like Beastie, you have to walk to the other corner of your TC to place the safe Regnets. But I wonder if Beastie's going to try to just place it forward. I don't think it's, like, that bad to place your Regnets in front. I imagine he's going to put it on that east side because both relics are slap bang there. And he can't place it on the northwest anyway due to the Archon.
Yeah, the neutral relic is slightly closer to Beastie, so there is a tiny bit of an advantage in that department. Obviously, a lot comes down to who reaches Castle Age first. And I don't think we are going to have anything significant combat-wise in Feudal Age. This might just be a straight race to Castle.
Okay, do you want to get really nitpicky?
No.
I'm going to do it. I think that this map generation is an outrage, LidaKor. Outrage! Beastie bias map. Boar on his side, Relic on his side, both his relics together. Disgusting.
You're confusing an EGC broadcast with Reddit.
I'm just giving them the fuel, man. I'm prepping for the YouTube comments. I mean, it is actually kind of crazy that, like, one of them got both relics next to each other and the other one has them opposite sides. It's that, like, for the first prelate, that's a difference of, like, I want to say 30 seconds? Or 20, 30 seconds maybe?
Yeah, small differences, but nothing significant. You look at the resource banks, it's kind of neck and neck. B actually has a bit of an advantage on the food gathering process. I think he had all the villagers buffed on the food and gold even before the Arkham was completed. And I saw, at least for a brief moment, Beastie's gold miners not having been buffed. So there might have been very tiny differences when it comes to the efficiency of those prelates in early game.
Yeah, it's like, the weird part is whenever people on Deer as well, it's super baity when you watch these numbers. It's like, oh my god, how is B 300 food ahead? It's like, it's because he literally just dropped off and the other guy's 2 seconds behind him. So, like, I'm always conscious of that. I remember when the pros talked about that on Cauldron. Cauldron was a really big one for that, because that was where people really started to use Deer a lot in competitive. Because who wants to play Altai Lamau? And they would always say it throws off your timings because you're like, what the hell? I should have more food than I do. And it's because your guys just haven't dropped off like 400 food because they're capping up at 25, right, compared to the normal 10.
Yeah, it's going to be a neck-and-neck castle age here, KP. It's essentially crystal clear builds for both of these players. Ragnitz coming in first for B. He's going to build that with 10 wills. On the other side, Beasty is going to drop it just now. He needs to force drop the gold. It's going to be on the front as well. It's 13 wills, though, committed by Beasty, and I love it. It's a race towards that central relic. If you nail a slightly faster castle age time, you have the advantage.
And he has edge, right? Like, that's the thing, because it's slightly closer to him. Wait, no. B, he knows. B's going to try to snatch a relic from BC's base. Like, you can't. There's no way. They're too close to the TC. If he's got villagers nearby, you'll die.
Yeah,
Dude,
that's way too risky. He's going for the one on the north.
This
is an all or nothing play by B. He says, I either take that relic, or I'm pretty much done in this game.
He's pumping more prelates. He's pumping more prelates. BC's moving out. Really, he needs to go for the other relic. The other relic's further away. So, like, that's the one that B can potentially do this with. Is he going to do it?
It's too late. He picked up the other one. B's yoinking it.
The scout! B gets the relic. He gets away. Beasty! Oh my god, if he'd just taken that relic instead, the other one is too close for B to make that play with. Oh my god.
That is one ballsy call here for B. You have 5 relics on this map, 2 guaranteed essentially for both of these players. It comes down to neutral, one in the middle. B knew fully well that Beast is gonna go for the one in the middle, yoinked one away, and it is going to be B with the relic advantage in this game.
Man, I just absolutely love that as well. That scout, he's like, go! Tell my children of my heroic deeds today. It's like, you're a crappy scout, bro. It's like, no. That is the champion. That is the MVP scout of the tournament right there. Oh my lord. B now will be the person who gets 3 relics in a mirror. That is a huge deal. There's still small differences, right? Like who has more food reserves. But with the Regnit's boosted gathering rates, like that gold is going to allow him to scale into more knights than Beasty can.
Yeah, one thing to keep in mind is that the 3rd relic has just arrived, so that difference starts counting now. It took a long time for B to bring that relic back, but B's also working towards the sacred side over here. Beasty having the upper hand when it comes to the banked resources, though, and we could see him going for his favorite landmark.
Is he a genius? That's what we're going to find out. Like, look, okay, I like this version more than the Vortex one because B's only now building a stables, and also Beasty went onto the stone. So if he can like plop a keep down, it covers the Swabia play. Oh my, oh my. Oh wait, okay, ignore me. Scrap that. It's a lumber camp. Okay, so this is going to be full Beasty greed. This could backfire very easily, folks.
I love it. I have to say, I love this approach from Beasty, realizing that if they play a status quo, then B is going to be able to leverage that relic. But if Beasty beats him to Imperial by a mile, then he's going to start using the villager printer and offset that relic differential. B is going to try to punish this with Lancers, but you see, the first 2 Lancers are just now arriving, and Beasty's gotta be up to Imperial by the time those reach his base.
And keep in mind, those are knights without blacksmiths, so no undermesh. More like you get undersmashed here, right? Because like the arrow TC fire is going to add up quite quickly. And BC's reaction can just be a few spears. He also has a few sheep left over, so this isn't going to be the insta run out of food build that we saw against Vortex. But he's going to run out soon. Now, keep in mind, he has not upgraded Spearman at all, by the way. So, not exactly the Giga Chad Spearman we're looking for here. Those are going to be Dark Age boys. Wait, that might be enough damage to kill the prelates, by the way. I'm not sure. Four in total might be able to tank that infinitely.
Yeah, Beasty is going for textiles as well. Just making sure.
Taking the Priest. I feel like I've seen a Black Mirror episode that matches that.
Actually, I feel like this is where Beasty's going to go for the stone. He built the Apostle Frabia right next to it. He's probably going to start yoinking the stone.
Spears in the choke point, but there's 2 knights here. He did get textiles, so that's going to make it very difficult to make a dent. But B now escalating fully to the knights. It's do or die. Even if he keeps Beasty pressured in his base long enough, he has now got that sacred site timer ticking.
That's a critical thing, and that's his win condition. If you are B, I would say your best bet right now might be just playing an Alsbach in the middle. It's going to be a little pricier to get to than a Pass of Schwabia, but you cannot play catch-up at this point. But you can maintain the pressure on Beasty's base, harass the eco, and just play all in for that Sacred Site play for the Alsbach Palace.
I get where you're coming from, but it kind of feels in some ways counterintuitive, right? Because it's like you're going to fall drastically behind on the eco. I do like this, though. Like, get onto Pumbaa. Just do your cheap L's back, right? Just do a few outposts, make Beasty come out and waste time. And then instead of, like, investing 900 stone or your full tech up in that, you can invest it into an army.
Yeah, he definitely needs to all in. Oh, it's going to be past Frabia.
Yeah, I think it has to be. Like, it's...
I just like it.
I get where you're coming from, but it's 8.5 minutes to hold that Sacred Site with no army.
That's a fair point, but you do have one of the best defensive landmarks of the game. You would have Culverins available.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it would guaranteed win the game. But right now, B's playing catch-up. He's down by 10 eco. He's just now going to reach Imperial. Sure, he has one extra relic on the Sacred Site, but is that enough to justify this delay? I'm not so sure.
I think B needs to commit a bit more plebiscite here, right? Like, these knights should be doing damage. They're not slowing down Beasty. Like, Beasty's now getting that edge he was looking for. Tech up finally comes through, but, like, look at the difference. There's 12 villages. That's the difference of that extra relic. So, like, B isn't in a stronger position like he otherwise would have been. The only upside for him is, like, Beasty hasn't teched up enough things that he's getting Imperial Age tech ups yet, right? So that advantage at least hasn't come through, but there we go. That's what I was looking for. The insta-divide. Like, there's just not enough spearmen here to defend.
Yeah, no range defense on those knights, though, so you gotta be cautious if you're B. But he does a good job slowing down Beasty over here. And now, he has his own Pass of Shrabi as well. He can start printing villagers, at least maintaining that 12 villager differential between the two players. But B still needs fortifications in the middle. 2 towers is just not enough.
It's good enough for now, though, because
for now, yes.
We know both of these players are greedy HRE boys. Like, they're not all in it. Like, look at the size of Beasty's army. Look at the size of B's army. So, like, B, I think he's going to keep probing. And he's like, if the army ever looks like it's getting big, that's when he commits more defenses. But if it looks like it's not scaling, then you just punish Beasty with this timer, right? And then he has to rush out at the last, say, 3 minutes.
I think there's a false sense of security here for B, though. Because what Beasty is working towards is not a complete decap of the Sacred Site. He first just wants a keep there. He's mining stone like a madman. He's actually getting bombard emplacements on tower as well, just to be sure.
Yeah.
But he doesn't need to decap the Sacred Site. He doesn't even have the tools for it with only spearmen. He just needs those spears to protect the keep that goes up. And once you have a keep in the middle, it gets a lot easier to decap this Sacred Site, especially given that B only has 2 towers protecting it.
Well, especially considering that B didn't go for bowling balls, he went for springalds. So, like, it's not a very strong point defense, right? If this was, like, double outposts with bombards, that is really spooky. Like this one, right? Even against these tanky knights, it makes them look pretty trivial. Spears looking to just buffer this away. It's a great reaction there. He could even wall this off to create another small choke point. Then he only needs, like, 2 or 3 spearmen here. But, mark my words, like, Beasty, we're probably going to be seeing, like, a bombard soon. And if he just parks on that with spears, like, B's army isn't ready for that.
Yeah. I feel like if Beasty gets a keep up in the middle, he has this game. Might be an exaggeration to a certain extent, or at least for some. Oh, I love that, though. Relics in the towers means that they will be much more potent in combat, though if B ever loses this position, he's risking losing the relics as well. But we're getting close to that all-in territory, 5.5 minutes left to go.
Yeah, and here comes the bombard. This is what it's talking about. Like, bombard and mass spears, and you just go. Like, B's army is not impressive, man. This is not going to be enough to hold the point. Scouts just sniffing out. Like, that was smart by Beasty, by the way. That's a cost-efficient way of confirming what's in the towers. He knows his double springle, so this is an easy go.
I still believe that if B went for the Alsbach Palace and just goes for a couple of Culverins, he could have potentially stalled this out. Because now, as you said, his army is rather disappointing. And if Beast decaps this Sacred Site, he's going to be in a great position.
Yeah, and now he's getting the Culverin, right? But, like, it's double bombard and spin mass. Like, I still prefer it for Beasty, because now he can just follow up with Culverin afterwards. Raiden is good. He gets through. But it's these outposts, man. I honestly, I think it's, like, I think B's now doing it, right? Is he just invested stone somewhere. I'm hoping it's cannon emplacements, because, like, that is the way you hold this, if any.
Yeah, he needs it. He definitely needs it. It's only 2 towers still.
Like, where did he spend the stone? Because he had, like, 500, right? So he must have built more outposts behind this.
But that makes no sense. Like, he's not being threatened in his starting eco. All the fortifications that Beast or B builds has to be in the middle.
Like, I wouldn't be spooked by mass spearman, right? Like, I don't think they're going to raid your backside, but like, he definitely had extra stone, I remember. So he's investing it somewhere. I mean, if you stonewall the sides, that's kind of cool, but like, there's going to be bombards, right? So like, the only stone investment that makes sense is more outposts. That's what the HRE are renowned for. Like, honestly, I still think it's just too disgustingly good on the Civ, even after all the nerfs.
I feel like Beast is a little slow here, though. He might still have time to decap this, but this is getting closer and closer to uncomfortable territory. Especially with crossbows arriving on the other side. So it's not like there is no clear answer to the spears. There is something that can at least slow them down.
He sees the Culverin. He's already been prepping his own, though. He's going up to 3 Culverins, man. They're going to mirror that, but the difference is like the bombards can be annoying. If he just gets the bombard up here, though, you can snipe out this outpost instantly. Culverin. Bombards. They're going to go for the snipe. One tap. If he just pulls a spearman, there we go. Can he get there in time before he dies? The body block. Oh, one more stab. That's huge. That is absolutely huge. But now the bombard's undefended.
Oh, spearman close in. That is a catastrophic loss for B. Lost the Culverin. Lost a couple of knights trying to snipe the bombards as well. And Beasty maintains all his siege presence here in the middle.
That Culverin is everything. If B had any village on the front line, which you want him to, because he should be building more outposts, he saves that Culverin and he manipulates the fight. But now the bombards can plow in. Like, look at this. Culverin moves in, bombards as well. Like, you could insta-snipe. That was a weird cancel attack. Don't ask me why. Things.
Beasty does have the stone for a keep.
Oh! Good bombard snipe. He's buying time. 2.5 minutes.
Yeah,
Beasty's reaching that pressure point where he has to dive.
Yeah, the keep has to come in. Remember, Beasty was around when we saw the previous series. He knows fully well what transpired in the other set. He needs to go.
He sees this, though. If he sees this and he bombards, 2 bombards, smack that before his half HP is dead. Critical timing. Spin pushing in. Culverin slow to come out. Remember, Beasty, he built his siege workshop at the back of his base. It takes a long time to escalate a siege, so they're even in terms of the advantage of getting new siege out here. The castle looks like it should be going up. Beasty now bringing his own one in here. The bombard is not in range to do anything about this. Culverins will not be able to snipe villages quick enough. So Beasty will get his up as well. And now the fight comes in. Spearman chasing forward. Snipe out on the Culverins. 2 left. Beasty having the numerical advantage in that regard. Castle looking like it should be able to go up, but it's not going to be healthy for him. He should be able to get the E-repairs out. Now the Culverin going down. It's just a bombard left for B. 2 minutes left on the clock, but a castle is a staging point for Beasty. He can move forward.
The fact that he chained in that castle preemptively to get the emergency repairs is such a clever move by Beasty here. He knew fully well that that castle is going to be under so much cannon fire. And now he has emergency repairs. You see, he's surrounding it with towers. He's got a lot of stone to work with as well. He will have multiple bombard emplacements over here, and he can clear that side. He still needs to move in, though, because there is 145 remaining.
Now, he can stand on the side to delay it with just a few spearmen, because remember, these are not bombard towers. They do not do enough damage. Double bombard's going to be able to take them out. At that point, what have you got left to stand on? No legs, really, because B, he's so far behind the siege count, he'll remain that way. What a way to dissect his opponent. And B, because of that keep, he doesn't have an army he can dive with to take out the siege in time.
And Beasty actually is sacrificing units one by one. You see the prelates, the spearmen in the middle, to keep that sacred scythe at a stalemate. He's pausing the counter.
Bombards now targeting onto the keep. I love the fact that Culverins are sniping out villages. Need to be careful of the reinforced Culverins, but B, I mean, it's a Congo line of death, really. Sending the siege in 1 by 1 is never going to win you the game. And speaking of Congo lines, this one's going to end with death as well. He tries to dive under the siege, but it's too late. Castle being brought low enough. Bombards can get one more punch out, but instead, Beasty takes his time. He says, I'm on match point. I got no rush. That timer's not going anywhere. But you are, B. You're going home.
B did not have emergency repairs. He used it on a tower, so he needs to use villagers to repair that heavily damaged keep out there. Needs to buy some more time until E-repairs comes online, but it might be just too late.
Culverins, he's got to get rid of that one bombard to stand a chance in hell. This is just full siege war. We've returned to Age of Empires release, but no Springles in sight at least. We've got the better versions here. And this is a pound. Remember, even if you've just got Culverins remaining, the Barrett 50 counts. They snipe units easily as well.
And it's too late for B now. The sacred site is decapped. It is essentially even Steven now. But especially in this set, especially with the momentum Beasty has, you might be thinking, is this the end for B in Call to Arms?
It's looking very likely. He's running out of stone to even keep a castle up with. He's trying to actually mine more now. So that's essentially, that's a lost value, right? You've got the villagers repairing, and then you've got the villagers gathering stone to just keep a castle up that is essentially just wasting BC's time. But while you're doing that, BC continues to scale his army, right? It's more beneficial for him. It's just dicey territory, man. Like, B, it's 122 versus 140, but it's more like it's 110 versus 140 because he's not doing anything but repairs with his stone.
Yeah, that's so much stone being spent on repairs. Stone that Beasty could turn into bombard emplacements and additional keeps. Now the Culverins are lining up once again. It's full siege warfare, but you see Beasty is still maintaining that position. He's got multiple towers surrounding the keep. And this is where we have to start thinking about the gold. B's gold miners are atrociously exposed.
And there's a lot of bombards coming in. Culverins trying to snipe out now. That Inspired Warriors can help a little bit. It's a nice little perk to give you slight edge on even footings. But let's be real here. These guys are not on even footings. BC has a bigger siege army, and it's becoming a problem fast. And these Langsnecks, he could dive that gold mine, and they'd be worth it. But he's saving them in case the spears try to dive him. What a turn, though. The amount that he sniped there in the end? Man, that may have just... I'm kind of surprised that BC kind of got caught out like that by that Culverin hidden behind the keep.
Yeah, wow. Beasty is trying to land that final shot, but it's not really happening so far.
Yeah.
B's holding on to this one, and he does have almost double the army. In fact, more than double the army that Beasty has.
You know what B's holding on to? A relic, which could be giving him the edge here.
Yeah, that's a big factor. Although, there we go. Truth be told, yeah, that relic, that needs to be garrisoned. It's just a much-needed relic over here for B to have any kind of advantage in this mirror.
It's the eventual difference maker, right? Because like once you're both capped on villages and it's infinite gold as well, like that will make or break. Man, this is essentially someone send a bombard forward and die. Like that's the story right now on both sides.
Love the cheeky play from Beasty. He's actually yoinking the gold to the north. He's trying to just salvage that before B can take it for himself.
What are you doing here? Get off my lawn! He brought troops as well, so he'll be able to do so. And this is so cheeky as well. That cannonball's going to reach the villager line. Danger territory for Beasty. But this actually benefits him. Like, he's got too many villages right now.
It's not just that. It comes down to the gold mines. The Landsknecht, they just massacre all of those units out there. But look at that fight for Beasty.
He's trading villages for men-at-arms. This is a cost-efficient trade. Love Hotel makes some extra cheap, baby. Now the fortification coming on more outposts, man. This is turned into a slobber knocker.
It's also about access to gold. At this point, it's a race to mining that gold. Whoever has a better bank of gold in the long run is going to win. And Beasty knows that he's down by a relic. He needs extra gold, so he's willing to sacrifice wills to get some extra gold for himself.
This is cool, Trebs. He's had enough of the weird back and forth trades, right? Trebs is kind of the edge. As long as you keep Culverin mass, B can't do anything against it. But Beasty, kind sir, you need more Culverins. B is beginning to outnumber him. Now, this is a bit of a gambit. Like, layering the Langsnecht is pricey for Beasty. Meanwhile, B, he's raw dogging with men-at-arms. What are the Culverins? Oh my god. B is just outplaying Beasty at this point in the game, man. Those Culverins, he keeps baiting him in.
I also dislike the Landsknecht approach here for Beasty. Those are very gold-heavy units in a game where he no longer has gold. Beasty's army is just so, or B's army actually, is just so much more cost-efficient. Spending it on men-at-arms that barely cost any gold.
Oh, villages. I mean, they're idle in the army, I'll give him that, right? That's actually the army difference. Meanwhile, his army's diving into the wood line. You need so much damage here for it to be worthwhile, though. Just because of that village printer. Blansk. Woohoo! All right, that's the salami slice I've ever seen one. Push continues. Relics on the front side as well. BC, he's now down to 1 relic versus 3. I don't know, LidaKor. Like, this is getting so messy on both sides. But B, I think he has the majority gold, and now he has the relic advantage as well. He yoinks the 4th relic. As his relic journey began, it looks like it's going to end as well, with him taking the lead.
Yeah, Beasty knows that his chances are very limited now. He's just trying to cripple the food eco. But he had that 5th relic in the castle in the middle. Castle gets taken down, B yoinks the relic, and as you said, this might finish as it started. B yoinking that relic away from Beasty's base at the beginning, you cannot understate the significance of that. That is the gold differential between the two players in the long run.
Okay, fine. I'm about to actually ask this question. Why no stables? Like, Beasty loves his late game horsemen. We're getting there now. Imagine if these men-at-arms were horsemen. They would have done 2, 3 times the damage for their value, right? But, like, the men-at-arms are just too slow. So I like this. Like, he's so far behind. You mentioned the Lanks are too expensive. Your only way of winning this now is to strip the economy and long-term beat your opponent.
Beasty is going to have to play for food denial. At some point, B is going to run out of mineable gold himself. And when that happens, 2 relics don't make as much of a difference as what you would get from just shutting down the opponent's food eco.
By the way, have you noticed that B doesn't have either heavy maces or imp tech up on his men-at-arms?
Interesting. Interestingly, he does have the 200 weapons upgrade, though.
Yeah, I think it was because of the spears, right? But like that's kind of wild. Like it's quite a wild that Beasty. I mean, the problem is he can't afford MAA indefinitely. If he could, he just wins because B hasn't noticed this. It's finally coming through with elite army tactics. Now these are fights so far that Beasty's kind of been able to hold. Imagine the difference maker that this is going to make. Like this is going to turn into a red tide.
And B's losing a lot of villagers here. He has lost like 30 vills. Those get instantly replaced with army. So B's army numbers are spiking right now as Beasty is contesting that northern castle. But I don't know how Beasty is going to hold against a flood of men-at-arms in his starting base.
Yeah, like, I mean, you get spears and horsemen aren't really going to cut it. I like the Rams play, but like the damage is already done here. The gold's been taken, it's been stripped. Like, you can maybe wrap afterwards into the wood line, and with just a few Lanks neck, you can do significant damage, but... Well, no. That one's mine. I'm taking it back, and oh my god, the villagers. Lanks, gonna carve them down. Look at their eco sizes. They're getting much smaller. Like, B, if he loses an army once, I don't think he can replace it.
I agree. A couple of moments ago, I just said it's actually good for him that he's replacing vills with army. That's true as long as he finishes this game in the next few minutes.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't keep losing them.
Yeah, but if he starts losing this army, replenishing this will be more and more difficult. His eco is no longer as amazing as it should be.
That is wild. He only just got marching drills as well. Like, B has been so behind in tech. Like, if you don't believe me, here's one for you. Look at the blacksmith upgrades.
Oh, that's so bad. He doesn't have range defense. It actually makes it difficult for these men-at-arms to dive under the town center and those defensive towers.
It was more for the the towers and the keep, right? Like, I think one TC at this point, you're like, Leshrug with 56 men-at-arms. But you're right, like, earlier on it was making a difference. And now these upgraded horsemen, they're going to yeet their way in. Villagers,
they're only
they need
veterans.
To just emergency repair. All right, you're right. They're only veterancy upgrades, man. Oh, God.
Beautiful body blocks by B, by the way. But in the meantime, men-at-arms do get repelled. And Beasty is just buying time in the middle here. For him, it's enough to push back all of those culverins. B is going to fortify the middle once again, and this time it's going to be more challenging for Beasty to push this. He's going to try to raid his way back into this game, but still, B is looking so powerful in this position. Comes down to that relic advantage that he still has.
You know, the difference here is actually which player protected his eco. It was Beasty, right? He built outposts at home. So every time Beasty comes in and does this, B has nothing to defend him. Beasty has these towers. And if he just builds Spearmen and holds those choke points, those cannonballs actually beat the men-at-arms army, but it's too many coming in. GG's gonna get called. Finally, we see the MAA play, but what a wild game, man. Like, to think we went almost 30 minutes before the tech ups really start to come through. We saw Relic yoinks at the beginning of the end. Is this the beginning of a B comeback? Maybe, but still feels like a big
the
hill to
momentum
climb.
switch he needed. This was a much-needed game. Well, it was a life and death situation for B. We talked about this. And when we began this game, we asked, look, he's taking Beasty to one of his favorite maps. And I said, look, this is a good idea. It doesn't matter if I lose 4-0 or if I lose 4-3. He needs to take this game at one point. He decided to go for it in game number 4. Now, for the remaining 3 games, 2 of those maps are the home maps of B. And I feel like B also has gotten himself a lot of morale back from the amount that he lost in some of the previous games. And I think we might actually see the strongest B in game number 5, just riding this momentum that he has gotten in this game.
Absolutely. Like, honestly, the way, the critical point, right, early on, yoinking that Relic, that had to be a huge morale booster. It was a weird slog, and, you know, I think also the way this played out that he still won, there's an extra morale booster in that when he started to notice that he didn't have certain tech ups, right? Like, oh, I haven't actually upgraded my men at arms. Oh, I haven't got marching drills, which is quite cheap at this stage of the game. These type of things, when you notice that afterwards, like, dude, I could have won this even cleaner potentially, right? So like that's the extra layer of morale boost. Is like I still beat him despite the fact that there's maybe inefficiencies in my play. Just great plays by B, well deserved victory, and to beat Beasty also on his signature civ like is no small feat. Even on a map like this, even though it is done in a cheeky way, you'll take it. And now we head forward into Canal for an English Ottoman matchup, one we have seen frequently. I haven't got the percentages in front of me, but I have to feel like English are coming out ahead in terms of wins compared to the Ottomans.
It's just so crazy to think, by the way, just looking back to the previous game for a moment, that Beasty lost a grand total of 2 games in this entire tournament. Both of those were HRA mirrors on Mountain Clearing, which is his signature map plus Civ combo. Just goes to show how crazy some of these sets can be. But yeah, as you highlighted, English feels the more powerful civilization of the two here on this map. It's a matchup that we've seen in the first semifinals as well. We've kind of touched on why the English feel a lot more powerful in that matchup. And if we see a replay of the similar strategies, Ottomans going Dark Age Spearmen, English responding with men-at-arms into Feudal Age Longbows, then it's challenging for the Ottomans to punish the English on this map.
And I'm still wrapped up on that game number 4. Like, I still need a moment. Like, I just want to give, like, once again, give credit. Like, this wasn't Beasty big whoopsieing. This was like B playing incredibly well and outplaying his opponent at multiple phases. Like, you know, we mentioned the relic snatches, but honestly, now that I'm thinking about back in my mind, like the microing around the siege warfare as well. Like, I think it's fair to say he out sieged Beasty, which is there's a reason I call him CGQ, right? He's meant to be the greatest adept, but like that's no small feat. So like, you know, the reason I bring that up is we mentioned morale booster, even higher morale booster there. If he can do this as well, like you're going to be on cloud 9, right? And it gives you some vicious options to follow up. Like maybe you go regions English, and then Frisian maybe just comes a French hoedown or something. But it is an uphill battle. Remember what we said earlier in the Marine series, where the English Ottoman moves in the first few minutes is like this weird negotiation of build more spears, build more men at arms, build an imam, tech up, right? Like you have to try to get one step ahead, or you lose by like minute 5. I look like I was arguing myself there.
So when you look at Frisian marshes, that's essentially going to be a French mirror, most likely. That leaves regions with what? Delhi for
we still have the
B.
Malians, actually.
Oh yeah, B does have the Malians, but Malians are having a bad day today, and B has Delhi, a civilization that he loves very much.
But like, I'm wondering, like, so because you don't want to do it in regions, right? Because regions, like, if you're playing the Delhi versus Malian strat, Malians are even worse off because of the gold vein locations, I think. So like you could do some funky stuff on Frisian and Malians, maybe. That could be very vicious, very surprising. But
I wouldn't be against that, to be honest. It would be a surprising move.
Because if you think about it, B would then have to play Delhi on Frisian. I don't feel like you ever want to be doing that. That doesn't sound good to me.
No,
right?
Delhi on Frisian sounds very bad.
Yeah, that's like you'd rather just stick your head in an unflushed toilet, right? Like it's. I mean, there's 2 sacred sites, so it's like you can control them, but they're kind of wide split. So like maybe that gives drafting advantage to Beasty if this goes deeper then because of that detail. Interesting.
Yeah, you see, there is a little bit of a wiggle room. But if B takes this game, we are very likely looking at a French mirror on Frisian marshes and then Malians versus Delhi on regions. Given how...
you've got... Sorry, I was going to say, you've got Ottomans for regions, right, for Beasty. And they're like... I mean, it should be Frisian marshes French mirror, but I feel like we're just trying to, like, nah, like, no, they don't want a mirror again, right?
You could play Ottomans on Frisian marshes, though. Ottomans are known to be able to punish French well.
Yeah.
Could be a bit of an out-of-the-box move, and I wouldn't do that if it was game number 7. But if Beasty ends up losing this, I could see him taking it to Frisian marshes, leaving his own home map for game number 7, and then playing Ottomans is a bit of a gamble, but a high upside gamble.
Because it's like, I mean, you leave Frisian last. Because like the reality is, if you do some weird Gambo play, like with the remaining civs, do you feel like French is an advantage on regions, right? It's like, I think like we're looking for a fancy way, but the reality is it's probably going to be like Otto's on regions versus potentially like Delhi, and then on the other, just a French mirror. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. We might not even see a game number 6. That's all in the hands of B. He started what could be an amazing comeback. Can he keep the momentum in Canal?
Only the second game that Beasty has dropped in the entire tournament. Let's see if he's going to drop a third one here. It is Canal, indeed. English, one of the powerhouse civilizations of this map. Ottomans, they do have their moments, but they definitely feel like the more underwhelming civilization of the two. So I don't know, KP, but if I would have to bet, I would probably say I like the English more here.
Yeah, especially with the way this opens, because BC raxed at home, so he's beginning the baby at arms. B went dock first. So he'll get his fishing online, but you now need to Brax behind this. And that's going to put you behind on production. Like, the men-at-arms take a while to arrive, but they should keep a lead over your spearmen.
B did play this map against Vortex in the quarterfinals, by the way. Interestingly, he played HRE on this map against Vortex's Ottomans, and he actually won. So he saw Ottomans fall on this map. Obviously not against the English, but last time he played this one, he played HRE. Obviously that's not an option right now, having used it in the previous game. But at least he's gotten a good haul of sheep for himself, so definitely a promising start here for B, looking to launch a comeback here.
If you need it, it's probably over, right? Because like we've seen how when you play hybridized maps like this, it's hard to get military schools, especially with Canal having limited room. And like you're probably going for the Sultani trade network, so you don't have Madrissa food. So like, yeah, it'd be nice to have these sheep, but ultimately it's like you need to win water, right? Like I don't think this is a matchup where if English get water and you're off it, you're ever feeling ahead, unless you've done like an intentional castle age with military school rush.
Yeah, for sure, but it's also about denying the food away from the opponent, which is something that we always like to highlight.
Yes.
And especially English, if it's an extended feudal age where they do want to commit to boats and longbows at the same time, that they do like to have that backup sheep to fall back onto. It's not something that Beasty is going to have a large supply of.
Oh, this is interesting from B. He baited with the dock. So he went 2 fishing boats. That's going to have enough time to return his value for his investment, but then he's going to lose dock and go for a faster tech up. Beasty is going up to 5 men-at-arms. This is a bit surprising. Like, he scouted that there's no racks, and then he could have stopped. But optimizers on 5, that should definitely give him time to clean up the dock. But then you've essentially just got these deadweight units, right? And nothing to trade with. Could he get the gold? I think he can harass the gold.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Cheeky bugger. Yeah,
there's enough gold, though.
Yes.
He has gotten what he needs.
Yeah, he just about sneaked what he needed. The condition here, though, is like, if you want to go blacksmith upgrades, that's no bueno. I like this, however. A Madrissa play. Not crazy about the location, because if you do start losing the lombos, you can't harvest food. But, like we already highlighted, it's a bait dock, right? So he needs land eco.
Yeah, he most definitely needs some, but it's very exposed. Just one of the disadvantages that you have on this map when you want to play confined. You have so limited amount of space close to your base, and it's so easy to harass it, especially with longbows, that that minaret is definitely a point of weakness if longbows start creeping towards it.
Yeah, it's another spooky detail about English. Like, we talk about their ability to win around the naval side, but it's like, if they start getting longbows, think about what this map does to you. You're pinned in a corner against a unit that has more range than anything you can produce. You can't get out of your base. You have limited resources. And if you think about it, your starting resources, what, 80% of them are on the front line? That's why you see people just, like, give up quite quickly against English on this map. It is that oppressive of a civ.
Yeah, B is rushing feudal age, though. He's likely going to work his way towards Sipahi, although technically going straight archers and just massing them could also work.
I love this. There's a dock on the other side, and they notice it's like, oh, crap. All right, boys, I hope you've done your lunges. I hope you've got good stamina. That's a long run.
At the same time, that dock does not secure any shortfish, so those fishing boats, they do have to spend a long time traveling there. B's fishing eco is virtually non-existent right now. He's kind of cut off from the gold as well. And I don't like this. Like, no gold access, limited food access. Now Beasty even spotted the minaret, and now the longbows will be on the way.
It's the Galley Gambit, though. Like, this will stop him from spamming down the dock. I like what Beasty's doing, where he splits the men-at-arms up, though, because that means the galley's not going to get efficient spread. He just needs to split the scout up as well. But B, wow, he's paranoid. Like, he doesn't know, right? Like, what we see. He doesn't have God vision. So he is assuming that fishing's going on. We can see it's not happening. Oh, wait, he's... Don't you just love the RNG of Archer ship fire? Isn't it? Doesn't it just fill you with joy? Jesus. Oh, this is snaky. This is super snaky, but super dangerous.
He's trying to bait the galley. Oh, nice little reaction. Galley misses, though.
No! No!
I mean, you love the idea. Using the man-at-arms as a bait, trying to get the tower up, but the villager still gets sniped.
That is a 99% tower, if I've ever seen one. Is it me, or like when you use an archer ship like this, it begins to look like a shotgun, right? But the crazy part is even at range, he's getting multiple arrows. Okay, if anyone from Relic is listening, can you please update these projectiles? Because they are the most lying piece of crap I've seen in AoE 4. They're like more of a bait than the demo ship range.
I'm starting to dislike the position of Beasty over here greatly. You see, he's got 3 men-at-arms. He has no fishing eco. Sure enough, Beasty B doesn't have a huge fishing eco either. But Sipahi are now coming out.
Oh, this feels so bad. You pull 2 villages without wheelbarrow. And this outpost, like, I'd say it's a staging point, but like, what's it staging for? Right? You don't have any archers. You don't have any naval of your own. You have useless men-at-arms. I'm wondering what Beasty's intent is here. Like, really, what is the follow-up?
Imams are out already for B here. Beasty looking to push this away. He needs 1 pick. We talked about this. If he kills 1, the other one is near useless. But as long as both are alive, they can just heal each other.
It's like playing against Discount Deli, right? It's so painful. Heal, leave, heal, leave. He might snipe this one. It's going to be tight, but... Oh, the heal!
Unreal. B is on top of his micro, and you see, he may have gotten a lot of momentum from the previous game. Game number 1, 2, and 3, B felt underwhelming compared to Beasty. He had his moments, but Beasty kind of imposed his will on him. But the previous game, that felt confident by B, and I think it gave him a lot of momentum, and a lot of this momentum we are starting to see now in this game.
All right, hear me out. A blast from the past, back to the start of the series. Ageism is about to come into the cast again. Beasty is an old man. What if the reason why B didn't surrender quickly in those opening games is because he thought he'd have the stamina advantage in the second part of the series? Now, tinfoil hats are on. It's a stretch. But what if? That's all I've got for you. I mean, Beasty, like, this is so much investment into 1 outpost. I like that he's finally adding in the Lombos. I don't like the fact that he's facing raw Sipahi.
Yeah. It's tricky, right? Right now, Beasty's army is underwhelming, to say the least. He's got 2 longbows, a single spearman, and now B is building up archers. It's 19 army against 6. Beasty's working towards... Is he going for a second TC here? He started mining stone. He's fortified this outpost.
That's what I would thought for a long time ago. But, like, for the amount he invested in fortifying an outpost, no, it was just an overreach. Nah. Like, he knows it's draw down feudal. My worry is, like, against the Imam play, the strategy is to build enough Lombos to keep them out of the fight. I think your Lombo count isn't big enough to be scary. Like, B has so many Sipahi. I'm not really sure that there's much left Beasty can do. I think this is over.
This feels just so disappointing for Beasty, and you know, if B secures a game here in less than 15 minutes, you are starting to think that momentum might be shifting to him. Beasty had crazy momentum at the beginning of this series, but loses out on game number 4. If Beasty crawls back to 3 and 2 here, I think we've got ourselves a set.
You know, like, I'm memeing about the old man stuff, but it really shouldn't be that, right? Beasty is used to doing these long days for years. Like, he streams as well. Like, he should be fine. And I
Oh,
know this looks really inefficient, what B's doing, but it's actually not, because he's never losing to Sapahi. So it's better to do this than build around.
yeah, like, he's doing a great job here. As you said, it's taking a long time for him. But Beasty isn't really able to use this time to anything. You see, the build-up is still very slow here for Beasty. Has 8 longbows, 2 spearmen.
And now he goes docks, but like, for the time you get this up, I'm pretty sure B should be able to aggress it. And this is so many Sapahi without enough spearmen. Like, you will actually just lose a fight right up.
And we already have a villager lead of 5 here for B. Losing any more villagers would be catastrophic for Beasty. Oh, he gets pinched. He's going to lose everything here, KP.
Yeah, B just peels it back, and an instant GG out. We are going to a game 6. B, he's starting to manifest the comeback. You have to see if he can keep it up in game number 6.
We started this set seeing that these sets between the two players, they have always been momentum-based. We have seen decisive B wins. Most of the time, we've seen decisive Beasty wins between these two players. He's leading 15-5. But their sets have always been very momentum-based. We had a lot of momentum for Beasty in the first 3 games. And then we talked about this as we headed into game number 4, the Lion's Den, mountain clearing HRA mirror. Something happened there for B. He yoinked that relic, and from that point on, I feel like he's just playing completely differently. There is just so much momentum, so much confidence coming out from B. And for Beasty, he needs to be cautious. He's still on match point, but we might be seeing glimpses of a reverse sweep starting to unfold.
It's like, I don't know if we give the players a few minutes to like call for a break or whatever, but if they had that and I was Beasty, this would be the moment to call for that. Because it sounds wild, but like, you know, there's a reason those type of things are limited in most esports and traditional sports. And it's not just because the show must go on, it's also because of the momentum you mentioned. Like, anything you could do to break up the momentum is critical now. And we are going to Frisian. We are going to get that Malian French. It was the call. This is like, it's bold. It puts kind of a weird predicament on regions where like we highlight he should be going Ottomans, and then you just see like a Delhi pick come out, right? But I think this was the best use of the Malians. Like you already highlighted, if you went Malians on regions, it's going to be Delhi. This could work against B. This could be effective because you have to remember you both start on one edge of the map. Like the distance between your base is not that long, so an infantry comp can actually win out, especially when it's Donzo Javelins versus French.
I love it, I love it, I love it. And I know I've been advocating for this matchup here for Beasty, but boy oh boy is this a great one. French, it's a clear-cut civilization pick for this map. Even if for nothing else, than just to be able to swoop up all those sheep at the beginning, get crazy advantage from the fact that you know the layout of the map. Yeah. On the other hand, Malians don't really care about that. They do have their cattle. They don't even care about the shorefish in many ways. But the cool thing I love is that Malians have been the kryptonite for French for so long. They're able to throw off the early French timings, and it's just so difficult to deal with that massive ball of Dunsos and javelin throwers with the French. The French are simply not equipped to deal with that flood of infantry. And I also love how Beasty did this in game number 6, not game number 7. First of all, he keeps his final home map for game number 7 if he needs it. And second, there is a bit of a gamble with this strategy. He does this gamble in game number 6, and I wouldn't be shocked if we go to game number 7 to see him just play very standard, very conventional. I love every single thing about this approach by Beasty.
And keep in mind, like, Ottomans is not weak against the remaining civs on regions. So, like, Beasty he's not, like, blowing the load early, right? Like, he actually has something in reserve that fights well on regions. And the crazy part about this matchup is, like, B does unconventional things. What's your unconventional thing here? Are you going to whip out the COC? If you do that, you lose. Because trade doesn't work very well against ranged unit, right? Because, like, it's good against melee because, like, they're poking spears. They're not that efficient at chasing. But Malians, it's kind of become a brain-dead civ, right? We like spears. Like, biggest Brittany fan in the world. We build Donzos, we build Javelins, that's it. And we hurl them. So you have a ranged unit and a hybrid ranged unit. You're not going to be able to trade. So you have to play into School of Cavalry. But then you can't take a direct fight. And you're on a map where raiding is inherently difficult because all of the resource is insulated behind the TC in a corner.
Yeah, this is such a difficult position to be for B to be in. Normally, you would say, oh yeah, if you want to beat the Malian eco, trading is the way to go. And on a map like, let's say, Hillandale, where you can wall this off, I would even agree with you. But the problem is that the moment you go for the Chamber of Commerce, you essentially forfeit your early Knights potential, and Malians have an insane amount of versatility. They can still play into Warrior Scouts, for instance, and quickly raid your trade. Reality is that you have to play into the School of Cavalry, but this is one of those matchups where I straight up think that this is just a massive civ advantage for Beasty. This is what he's been building up towards, and this is why he hasn't yet used Malians. I feel like he's got a massive civ advantage over here, and B is going to have a very difficult time breaking this.
You know, RT raises a fair point in the chat. You see that right there? Going to build 8 town centers and then use them as keeps when he gets Red Palace. That's an interesting strategy, Don. Did you create that one? I'm not sure if I've seen that somewhere before.
I don't see Don Artie in the semifinals, though. Like, with strategy ideas like that, I'm starting to wonder why.
You know why? It's because he'd done the trade as well. If he didn't do the trade and just went multi-TC into Imperial Age, he would have won, right? Like, I've seen that somewhere. All right, well, you're going to get something that we all want to see. A game number 6. We are going deeper into the night. B, resilient, refuses to give up, but his hardest matchup so far, Malians versus French on Frisian marshes.
Yeah, every once in a while you see players bringing in, essentially, in a way, a gamble civilization that is a very good counter to the best civilization available for a map. And this is what we're seeing over here. French is a predictable civilization for this map. We oftentimes see mirrors on this map. And Beasty just said, look, Malians is not the conventional civilization that players usually play on this map. So it's a bit of a gamble for me to use it. But it's a civilization that's great against the French. And I'm willing to take this gamble being 1 point up. And I'm doing this in game number 6 instead of doing this in game number 7, the decider. Obviously, if we get there.
Yeah, and you know, like, maybe he goes Chamber of Commerce. The reality is, like I said, if you get in position, you can snipe them down, right? But in the early phases, it is an infantry army that has to move across the map. It's like there is some value, and he doesn't necessarily want knights. So I wouldn't be surprised if B just does, like, this really brain-dead mass spears, and then, like, adds in archers if there's no javelins. It sounds really dense and simple, but it's probably the only way you win against Malians in long feudal, right? Like, I do like this opening though. He pulled across, he yoinked most sheep. I'm pretty sure B has like double the sheep right now to Beasty.
Yeah. B definitely yoink most of the sheep, but if there's any civilization that's going to be unfazed by that, that is the Malians. In fact, one of the things to highlight is that Beasty went for double scouts. So part of his plan was starving B out of food over here. Just going for double scouts, trying to yoink most of the sheep, not because Beasty himself needs it, it's because you want to deprive B of accessible food.
This is kind of tough, like, right, even if you take the food away, like, it benefits you, but it doesn't necessarily inherently hurt the Malians because they have the pit mines up. Like we said before, they just go into Canals, they set up the ranches, they passively, like, scale. It's a bit rough, but B, yeah, okay, I like this. Like, he had to do something unconventional. It is going to be the racks opening with the Spearman. It's going to be the outpost drop on that gold vein.
Yeah, here come the villagers. We've seen attempts in both semifinals to make things chaotic with a tower. In this case, this will be quickly scouted by Beasty, though. Another benefit of having those 2 scouts available.
I mean, yes, you see it, but now what do you do? Is he going to pull the villagers, or is he just going to allow it? I mean, yeah, you could still just have the houses there, right? They're not going to die anytime soon to an outpost. It seems like he's just okay for this to be the case, especially when he sees the Spearman follow up.
Not a conventional opening by any means here by B. Opted to go with a Dark Age Spearman rush with the French. And I think, like, you've been advocating for the Chamber of Commerce for a long, long time. If there's ever a time to pull this off, I think it's now. If you commit to a Dark Age Spearman rush with towers, slow down the Malian player, make the game chaotic, that's where you could potentially get away with trade. Would it be the best course of action? I do not know. But if you ever want to do it, this could be a good time.
Okay, this is like one of those games where someone's like, why did you pick French to build spears and archers? But it's actually going to work. Because if he takes out the pit mine, Beasty can't build javelins. He can't afford it, right? Like, look at where his gold is, by the way. Like, we highlight that he's blocking 1 gold. He's blocking 2. because of the spawn, this is now incredibly rough for Beasty.
It's getting concerning. He won 3 in a row to start the series. If B wins this game, it's 3 in a row for him, and we will be playing a game number 7 decider out of nowhere almost. Especially when you consider how quick the previous game was, less than 15 minutes, and now B's position is pretty good as well, as you highlighted.
Is it actually going to happen? I mean, B is building so many spears as well. He's about to go up to 7 spears. That's going to allow him to torch down the houses on top of the pit mine. There's no stopping that. There's no reaction Beasty can do on this opening that could match that because he went for the tech up instead. And now he's even yoinking the gold away from home. So it's going to be stables. I think Beasty is going to try to ignore the spears and raid Eco.
I don't know how to feel about that. If B keeps a couple of spearmen back at home, the initial warrior scouts won't do much. But if he is not doing any eco damage, then losing out on the pit mines altogether is catastrophic for him.
Okay, hear me out. Beasty's mindset right now is like, I'm willing to admit I may have lost this, but I refuse to lose to Chamber of Commerce. So just in case, go Warrior Scouts, go!
You know, we talk about momentum a lot, and, well, that's actually a good find with the Warrior Scout. Now, B has to be cautious, but Beasty can't really afford to lose this game very quickly here. It's looking grim for him, and I wouldn't say that this is over by any means. But if he loses another game in less than 15 minutes, then you really start to feel momentum being in the favor of B now.
We talked about stamina, but when you're
no way.
It's more of a sprint, right?
It's coming!
It is! He's whipping out the Chamber of Commerce. Oh, and he smuggled it as well. Like, the Warrior Scouts are so focused on the front side, they haven't scouted this yet. Like, Beasty might suspect it, but he doesn't have confirmation.
You know, remind me what the acronym is for that landmark, KP. My memory isn't really...
So because French, like, saying COC is too long, it's LidaKor. LidaKor. It is very strong. It is c'est le magnifique, as they say. And in this map format, it would be if BC hadn't prioritized scouts. That is the problem with this. Like, the scout play is actually the one way that BC can starve him.
Yeah, I don't mean to sound critical here, because after all, I'm not the one playing in the semifinals, but it definitely didn't help Beasty's cause that the initial unit he went for were scouts against spearmen. Now he's mixing in archers, though, so as crazy as it sounds like, B needs to be cautious not to get baited in here. Because right now, he's sitting only on spearmen. He's starting to see archers arrive, and it's not like he's going to have the knights available now.
Beasty, he's about to see B's cock. Ooh. There it is. It's a big one. He now knows. And now Beasty can cock block.
Oh man, this is... I don't know, I'm feeling very perplexed in many ways, and very confused in many ways, because this is anything but a conventional game on Frisian marshes, and I do not really know who has the upper hand here. Sure enough, you do have the Chamber of Commerce for B, and he did throw off Beasty's initial game, but I feel like he got baited. Now he's sitting in Feudal Age with 9 spears against javelin throwers, archers, scouts.
Yeah.
The Chamber of Commerce won't work because there is that scout presence, and I'm starting to feel like Beasty did anticipate the Chamber of Commerce. That's why he went for the cavalry to start things off.
Nah, and that's what we predicted, right? Scouts, because he anticipated this follow-up. Like, you know what? The scout plays, anything else doesn't work as well because it's too slow. But this truly is a low blow to Beast Cop. Look, in my defense, Pesty said it's okay. So, buckle in, LidaKor. This is 15 minutes of innuendos.
I love how Beasty also snuck out a villager to the north. He's actually taking the large gold mine out there, so it's not just the fact that he does get the pit mine back, he also gets that on a large gold pile, so he's going to have more houses nearby.
God, he's not killing a single scout. Mommy, make it stop.
Okay, I would honestly love to talk about this game for 20 minutes with each of these players, because the mind games that you have here are unreal. What's the reaction and what's part of the initial game plan? It's near impossible to tell. Like, Beasty may have anticipated a tower rush even and just played directly into denying the Chamber of Commerce. Or maybe he just went to harass the eco, realized that there's a Chamber of Commerce going on. It's so hard to tell, especially when you consider how unreal it is to see a Chamber of Commerce being popped out in a game that decides whether you go into the grand finals or you're out.
He's walling it. He's walling everything. Beasty. He's walling the, like, he's actually housed the gold away from his base, and now he's walling the corner. B, by the way, is holding all the traders in his base until he's resolved the scout issue, right? But even then, like, you don't get to play with the cock this game, like, because you have to trade to Beasty's side of the map.
Oh my lord, this is just so chaotic, but I'm starting to lose faith in B's approach here. We talked about this at the beginning of the game. This is a tough matchup here for the French. Chamber of Commerce, I understand the idea, and I think it would have worked well if he threw off Beasty's timings and Feudal Age more. But Beasty was able to get the Feudal too quickly, and now he has a response to the spears.
Yeah, and it's like, even if a small group's javelins building, like, over time, this is going to just be like a gut punch, right? Like, and you can see B's now trying to go in for knights, right? But guess what? You can't reach the warrior scouts. He already scouted his coming. He can now layer in Donzos. This is where you kind of get back to conventional French, right? Where it's knights, archers, spears versus like Donzo javelins, and that does favor the Malians heavily. The trade is on the way though, and I've got really, really bad news for you guys. It's the cock block continues. And by the way, you're a French player, you see where the trade posts are. You don't see these walls around the trade posts.
Oh man, that's just gonna be so gutting. But to be honest, if you're B, you should have anticipated this. You have limited mobility, no scouting intel or very limited scouting intel. You should expect Beasty to sneak some walls up there, especially once he sees the Chamber of Commerce. It's so obvious what you're going for. It's so easy to deal with.
All right, the pantaloons weren't enough. This is now a chastity belt of protection around the trade. Like, he can't. And he has to pay attention to the scouts, right? Because now his traders are exposed. Because his traders are running back through no man's land, he can't stop the villager who's building the walls. Oh my god, this is so annoying.
This is just... We talked about this. We usually say that chaotic games favor B, but that might not be the case over here. But boy, oh boy, for sure is this game chaotic.
Yeah, and if he keeps wasting time with these scouts, it's going to let Beasty scale a proper army, right? Which he needs. He's actually still pretty weak at home. Like, it's not a scary army yet.
Yeah, that's a fair point. B doesn't have a lot of knights, but he's got that English vibe army with the archers and the spears, and as much as Beasty does have the counter units for those, the numbers aren't looking great, and basically every time we've seen the downfall of the Malians in today's semifinals, it came down to numbers against the compositional advantage of the Malians. And today, Malians have yet to win a game, by the way.
Well, turns out anything is doable with cock in the picture, because we have not seen a Chamber of Commerce win at all in this tournament. I think actually Divine might be the only person to try it. And I think we all remember that game very well. It did not end well for the trade.
I guess the silver lining for B is that, especially once he becomes the aggressor with the much superior army that he has right now, at least when it comes to numbers, he could potentially open up an avenue for future trades. So he does have that potential, but as you said, right now, he's getting absolutely no value out of the trade. In fact, he's using his army to escort the traders to the corner.
I mean, he has to. Like, it's LidaKor sport here, right? The amount of running these guys have done in this game, but they just never find a fight, and that's the worrying part. Like, if he can get a few trades off, he builds an eco advantage, right? But if he doesn't, long term, we are talking about Malians with passive gold.
B's on fish, though. You know, I was trying to find a grip on this game, on how I would call such an absolute madness. First of all, traders soon to be gone. But B is now moving out on the fish. He's up to 1,200 food. He was up to 1,200 food per minute just a moment ago.
The LidaKor, the traders are just dying. Like, what was that rally? Did they just have a stroke?
I don't know. But ignore the traders. It's not like they've been a factor at all in this game, but as I said, I kind of like what B is doing here. He's missing out on the gold, but he's going essentially heavy wood food. full archer, full spearman, and he's leveraging the shorefish to accomplish that.
You know how you beat your opponent with cock? You just don't use it. I think you're right. Like, the Warrior Scouts have wasted time, but like someone that we're kind of like, we're not paying enough attention to is that it's still French, right? So they still have advantage on 1TC over time. And in the meantime, like these Warrior Scouts, they've never, I don't think they've once traded efficiently, right? They've just died to things. I think they maybe killed like one unit early on, and that was it, like a spearman. So it is a pricey investment, like 90 resources per and then being burnt like that. It does sting you a little. And we can see the difference now in military mass, right? 55 versus 37.
I think the big thing here is that it kind of changes the objective for Beasty. Beasty has been hunting for those traders for so long, but he wasn't really harassing the villagers on the fish. So, in a way, those traders became a bait, and B is actually leveraging that very well. You see, his spawns are full of villagers doing shore fishing. Is that enough to offset the eco difference between Malians and French? I don't think so. But still, B made this game chaotic, and we know that his playground are chaotic games.
Yeah, and it's like we said, we expected someone off the cuff. We got that with the Open the Chamber of Commerce. But like, it was highlighted, he just used it as a bait, he didn't really play it. So like, I still think we need buffs to that landmark. I think it's fair to say that the cock still sucks. Man, this is so annoying. Like, he's actually outmaneuvering him entirely. He's cutting off reinforcements. Archers will need to peel back. Spearmen will look to engage. And Knights get free access onto the Javelins. Hello! Where are you going? So many Archers lost ID, though. Like, that's still very expensive from Second wave is going to come in.
That's a very bad fight for B. He really needed those Archers out there. He needs the Archers to snipe the Spears or the Dunzos so that the Knights can reign supreme, but it's still enough to at least cancel out the armies. But I don't think this was efficient enough for B.
No, I think Beasty's holding. Like the Javelins were a bit exposed. The Knights could actually still turn this, though. He needs a second wave of Donzo, and he needs some ASAP. Because look at the military numbers. They're getting kind of neck and neck here. These Javelins are a premium unit. They're trying to snipe out the Archers. Not enough Spearmen here. B, still keeping his opponent oppressed, can now turn around onto the outpost and try to take some villager heads. He's got enough to hold here.
Yeah, tower goes down here. Numbers are still looking better for B. And you look at Beasty's passive gold income, that is not spectacular. It's 189 per minute, and he doesn't have shorefish either. In fact, let's take a look inside Beasty's base, because I'm starting to wonder how much food he has left. He's on berries. KP, he's on berries.
He's got cattle, though. Beasty, like, you see, if he actually gets breathing room for a minute, he could rush castle. But, like, I wonder if he has enough army to defend. Like, my worry is half of the army of B is premium. It's Knights. And we've seen how much damage just, like, 4 or 5 remaining Knights can do against that Javelin line. Oh my, what a series this is turning into. And yeah, Beasty, like when you go on a goal like that, it could just be massing Javelins, but it kind of feels like it's him just trying to be greedy here, which I respect. I think is his only way to kind of claw back into this, outside of B whoopsie-daising multiple times. Wow, okay, we are, you know, turns out like the one cock was not enough. We're going to get the standard marketplaces, and he's actually going to fully invest.
You have that tool. You want to leverage it somehow. And yeah, this is what I was trying to look out for. That pit mine was gone for a while. So Beasty doesn't have spectacular gold income. He is on berries right now. His army numbers are now looking decent, so B needs to be very cautious with this. And where did... B also has a pretty substantial villager lead. I think that's mostly from traders, right?
No,
oh yeah, and the French, of course.
French, yeah. Like it's funny how almost 20 minutes into a game, that casually can add up, right? The traders are, yeah, so we're buying these now. We're not defending them.
Yeah, still a very long game does favor the Malians, so that's something to keep in mind. And Beasty has been doing a great job shutting down the trade. You see, he's even picking off these traders. And he's kind of forcing B to chase those skirmishing units that are harassing him. And Beasty is going to use this window to rush castle.
And keep in mind what he's done there. That this is crafty. Because Beasty sent troops out to that corner, look where B's army is. It's not in a position to punish you for a tech up. It's defending the corner.
Yeah. This game is coming down to bait and counterbait at this point. You see, B is trying to bait out Beasty's army with the traders. Beasty's sending a couple of skirmishing units, and it's B who takes this bait, sends out all the knights to the north, allowing Beasty to get a very easy castle age timing with this. And once that's there, suddenly things get very dicey for B.
Man, this is just, I mean, it's masterful baiting back and forth, right? Like the kind of dysfunctional cock play into the trying to play trade, into the baiting your way. And now, because it's so far away with an army that's primarily infantry, you can't cross the map quick enough. Those tech upgrades are going to be in there before you can arrive. And remember, like, Beasty's not that far behind on military mass because of the fight that B took underneath the pit mine earlier. Oh my god. I actually think Beasty's going to quickly be in control of this game now. This is... B has a lot of knights. I would love to see him tech up, but Beasty's not going to give him time. He's heading straight for the jugular.
Oh, that's such a lovely move. He's about to hit the gold mine, which is running dry as well. And you see, B is kind of caught in between here. He's got a bunch of resources banked up, but he's nowhere close to Castle Age. But he's going to be behind in tech now, and it's not like he's got a massive numbers advantage either. We talked about this. The unit composition of Beasty is generally better than what B has. B needs to just win off the back of raw numbers, but he won't be able to do that now that he's out-teched.
Yeah, and it's like you have the army value advantage, but like it's the tech upgrades coming through. Not just the veterancy upgrades, but look at the blacksmith. Like Beasty's pumping the numbers quick. He's pumping hard. He knows how much of a difference that's going to make. Tank an extra round of arrows, for example. Get a little bit more damage out. Get down tonight. Sorry, I just had to, but it's that much of a boogaloo. We're about to get into the big fight here. Beasty a little bit split. The gold vein wasn't finished off, so it blocks him from reforming. Javelins are exposed. B with the clash. Gets on top of the premium. Gonzo's trying to turn it about, but the archer mass now massacring through them. Beasty, can he hold? Second wave coming in. Donzos are on top of those archers. And B, I don't know about this. He's prioritizing the small straggler javelins. But the Donzos now moving across. B, shrinking an army and an even number is good work for him here. And he still has plenty of knights to work with.
The initial part of this battle was so good for B. He managed to jump on the expensive javelins with the knights, but he wasn't really focusing the Donzos in the second half of this engagement with the archers, and he needed that so badly. He needs to kill the Donzos to allow the knights to clean up the javelin throwers. Ends this battle in essentially a stalemate. Army numbers are still that even, but that's something that Beasty's got to be more than happy with. I feel like...
But Eldest... Sorry, I was just going to say, like, keep in mind, though, like, the premium units going down stings B a lot because he's an age behind, and those are knights dying, right? So, at the end of the day, this is step one, but B needs to do that again.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I feel like B could have gotten a lot more out of this fight, potentially. He might still be okay, but okay is the best thing that you can say about his position right now. And at this point, I'm still thinking that Beasty will slowly start grabbing the upper hand. He's starting to work his way towards the relics with the mosques. You see, he's still denying the trade with a couple of sofas. And the army value is now dead even. Used to be much larger for B, and B is still also behind the tech.
I mean, it's also just the trade. Like, you know, it's flopping, right? Like, it's not really paid off. And now these big shiny objects that Beasty's going to look for access to, it's going to pay better than the Cox. And B, oh, no. Can we check his vision? Wait, he knows. So, like, why? Why? I mean, it's one villager, right? Whoop-de-doo, but, like, that's going to make your heart sink, man. I'm also worried. Sorry, I just go quickly. B, check how many pawns he's got left, because, like, he hasn't made a farm transition. That's worrisome. And he also ate through essentially all the pawns right next to his base. So his most reasonable source of food might be this deposit to the north, which is, it's more than exposed. Now we're getting into sofas with imported armors. Like that bulky front line, that could be a difference maker here. Decent amount of spears laid in by B, but like, it feels like you kind of need to move away from mass archers, right? But you're still feudal age. What is your option here? And well, one outpost is not going to protect you from the onslaught. Two sofas could clean up that entire area. And nice trade, bro.
I actually wonder if there was a single trader that make it back to the original Chamber of Commerce at
Maybe
this
like
point.
two? Maybe two? I'm more worried about these guys. Hey, if you walk north... Oh, wait, no, you can't, because that's his wall. Yeah, there's no way you can go with these villages. And, oh my god, he's going for it. Beasty. That's like half a B's economy, right?
Yeah, and it's only
Feels like
Spearmen
it.
defending this. These are Feudal Age Spearmen as well. They are facing off against Castle Age Dunsos and a couple of Javelin Throwers. You cannot hold this if you're B.
I mean you know,
Beasty
it's
turns
shaft
back.
versus shaft, but the piercing damage, the penetration
Whoa.
of Beasty's units is more scary. Woo! Oh, no! Oh my god, sweet mother mercy. Oh, that's
Unreal.
half of his knights. That's half of his knights. And now he's about to lose the other half over here. I mean, this should be the deciding fight. This should be the GG moment. Because B, like, he has to run. And when you run, you can easily die. But Beasty, he says, wait, didn't you left Eco up here, right?
Oh, talk about
fix
a
that,
catastrophic loss for B. These games, these sets between these two players have always been very momentum-based. And Beasty has just gotten so much momentum. He gets a bunch of knights, and he now uses those knights to harass the enemy traders with. And B is still stuck in feudal KP.
At least it's not villagers this time, right? But that's the second wall of the series. Beasty's got to be feeling pretty confident. Like, even if this goes to Game 7, that's just an opportunity to complete the hat trick of Wallalows. But I don't think we're going there anymore, LidaKor. Like, this is feudal versus Castle Age. And Beasties look so much bigger. 94 military to 56. Army value, dominance for Beasties, almost doubling up B. This is the death throes. This is the end of the line for B.
Beasty's position was decent even before that conversion and that fight. But with that, it's just looking so grim now for B. He's trying to take a fight over here. Has to fight into Castle Age Sofas and Javelin Throwers with archers.
That's it. I mean, he's going farms. Like, he's going to hold on for dear life, right? Considering how he began the series, of course he's going to see this to the very end. But what a cool play, right? The fake cock into, like, the aggression with infantry. It was a good idea, but Beasty had the read. And B, I think you've blown your load. There's no tricks left in the book. Beasty, it's just a matter of time before he signs his entrance into the grand finals of Call to Arms.
This was one of the hardest games to call in the entire tournament. So chaotic, so unconventional, and Beasty comes out on top. He takes down B 4-1, reverses the scoreline from the semifinals of the Elite Classic, where B took out Beasty 4-2. It is such a spectacular series to look back to. Going on to how dominant Beasty was in the first 3 games, then that resurgence of B, the spectacular moments that we've witnessed on Mountain Clearing, going into this game, just 1 game away from tying it up, popping out the Chamber of Commerce, throwing off that early game with the Spearman aggression, but then Beasty rallying back and just bringing this back under control, takes this set 4-2. Boy, oh boy, was this a spectacular series for the second semifinals.